We're back. Welcome back to Evandale, guys. Welcome back to Untimely Heroes. We're talking about a little known something that I think Ophelia might actually have this. In Evandale, we have our own version of the tarot deck, or of a tarot deck. Or tarot. Thank you. We have our own version of it. It's called the Fate deck, and the Drosti of Mutvia typically have it, at least in the 4th age. I'm kind of curious if in the 6th age it would continue to exist, and I'm going to say yes, 100%.
Yes.
And chances are that's exactly what Ophelia has. So Alex Vixen waving from the ribs. Hello, Amanda, Malave, all you guys are here. King Face Crush. I'm so ready. This is my favorite thing about Wednesday nights. That is I love that. Raffle screaming chai with milk. Let's do this. I know. I'm really, really excited. Okay, true to fashion, we just lost Kevin Adams fucking Jr. again. There we go.
There he is.
Hey, all good, bro? All right, cool.
I don't know what happened, but it flipped off.
All righty. Well,
Time flipping.
we are here. Oh, guys, I'm so ready for this. Alrighty, we've got a lot to get through tonight. But I want to know something. In the last couple of campaigns, we may have done this. We started doing fun facts in Crossroads, fun facts about PCs. Do you guys have any fun facts for your PCs now? And if not, can we start doing them next week?
I have one.
You have one. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Erin. I'm sick. I play Ophelia more. And a fun fact about Ophelia is she uses a fate deck.
And a fate deck it's real. It's like legit. If there's some funky weirdness going on about that. So maybe we'll hit that. Anybody else by any chance? I know it's totally on the spot.
I got stuff, but I'm gonna save that for next week.
All right, cool. All right, so next week then we're going to start with fun facts about the characters and about the world, and then we'll get into it. Alrighty, are you guys ready for a little bit of a recap? Alrighty.
Absolutely.
After spending a significant amount of time in what would end up being the asylum, when you came out, you began to realize this place distorts everything. When you came out, the constable noticed that not only had 4 hours passed where it should have been only 1 or so, but also alignments of the stars, people answering questions, newspaper headings, anything. You also realized a total of 4 days had passed. It's now in the northern end of Ludgrave Park, just to the east of the asylum. You found yourself here. You knew that something was drawing you. Holy shit, Amanda, thank you for the 1,000. Wow, the 1,000-bit cheer. Thank you. And Hype Train is close, so let's see what happens. You found yourself back in Ludgrave Park, and the last thing that you understood was that all of a sudden the constable, Casper, and Ophelia had no memory. A new subscriber. Hello there. They had no memory of anything that had just transpired within the past 24 hours. And Shahid, as Ophelia was telling you guys this, Shahid, you looked over Ophelia's shoulder and you saw someone disappearing into the woods. Are you guys ready for a little bit of freakiness?
Yes. Only if it's a lot of freakiness, though.
Well, I got news for you. These fucking amazing people.
Thanks, everybody.
We just holy shit! Wow, they've already hit level 2 hype train. So each of you guys now have a +1 and +2 modifier. The team has 2 inspirations that you'll be able to use, that which we call urchins, and let's do this. At the northern end of Ludgrey Park, Shahid, you were able to see somebody, a cloaked figure, all in black, akin to wearing a funerary cloak, begin disappearing in some trees just on the other side of the park. Now that you take a look at them, let me build on top of that last thing you saw. It's pitch black out. There are no gas lights lit, except in the distance just north of the park, where the city has already started to come to life. You can see the dawning of the sun just on the horizon, but here in the park it is still a little bit dark just due to the shadows being cast by those trees. But that person there, you're able to see as if they had their own illumination. Anybody else that chooses to see that, I just need you to make a perception check.
I just want to let you know I had to reboot Foundry twice. It's not letting me do anything.
Oh, and Erin, your video froze.
Cool. Cool. All right.
Oh no, hold on. Hold on. We know Erin's computer just started experiencing a little bit of problem. Can you turn off your video and turn it back on?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Okay.
Stop video.
There we go.
There we go.
There we are. Yay. Okay,
All right.
cool.
This might be a not Foundry day for me.
Okay, we'll find out. We're still on a level 2. My God, you guys are absolutely amazing. The
Perception.
bells of the church now ringing. Something is waking you up. It's the morning sun. At least 5 hours have now passed since you were in the asylum, and you can only remember maybe 90 minutes of it.
A new subscriber.
Wow.
Hello there.
They just hit level 3, so +1, +2, and +3, and 3 inspirations for you guys. Anybody that makes that perception check gets it with advantage right now. Dredge and Monk.
Oh, hi. I did, I got a 17.
Okay.
I got the same.
Yeah.
I got the same score.
Your back is to it. What'd you say, Kev?
I got 11 both times.
11. Okay.
I
Wow.
got a 17 as my higher.
17. Casper, you're able to see it now that, and Shahid, you're looking over Ophelia's shoulder, and I'll supply you guys with info in just a second. Oh my God, you guys are absolutely amazing with all these biddies. Holy crap. Shahid, you see that dark figure going into the woods opposite. What are you doing? What do you want to do?
He was in the middle of realizing that Ophelia and Casper are tripping at the moment, and then his eyes catch it. He would point over and go, wait, what's that? What, do you, please tell me you see that.
All
What
right.
are you talking about?
At that point, Casper, that's when you look over and you see an individual disappearing into the woods as if they had their own kind of illumination. When you look over, it's almost palpable. Some kind of a blue-like, some kind of like a purplish light coming off of them in the distance. Casper, I'm going to assume that you have a lantern lit, because otherwise it would be pitch black.
Yes. Yeah. I definitely have my lantern out and I'm raising it in that direction.
You guys see what you see here on the map? We are on Foundry.
Constable, what is it that you have seen? I don't. Are we going? Is it one of those things where you've seen something and I did not, or?
Well, not you two, please.
He saw it too, so it's not just.
Yeah. Did you not see that body, that figure? It was glowing a purple.
I'm not discounting that there wasn't something there. I didn't see it personally.
Glowing.
You turn around and you can kind of see as if somebody had like a violet-shaped, a violet-colored light in the forest, or rather in the tree line, but you don't see anything now.
I've never seen that before.
Ms. Moore, I hate to ask this of you, as always, but do you believe that perhaps you would be able to peer through your planchette and take note of what that is? Clearly, there's something there. You know that there's overlay. I hate to ask it of you.
Of course. I'm going to lift it and get like whatever the trail end of that purple was is what I'm focusing on, not so much the man.
Yeah, the light itself has actually moved beyond sight, but nonetheless, not able to see anything anymore with your normal eyes. You lift the planchette and peer through the crystal of it. At first, there's a bright light illuminating the area, and then a sound that rings through your ears like a piercing scream of some kind. There in the distance, and where the figure has disappeared, you can see that they are walking still between trees, as if you're able to see through these very trees. And just out of curiosity, kind of veer over to the left and to the right just to see if you can kind of get your bearings. You see a world which is not Ludgrave Park. You can see the forest there, superimposed on top of something else. But there is so much more than that. And then, coming out of the trees, pull the planchette away and it disappears.
Was that the same dog that I saw during...
It seemed a little bit different. It was difficult to tell, but you saw a figure that was loping towards you, just like a dog does initially, but then at that last minute, it raised a clawed hand.
Oh, gentlemen, I think I know what happened to those poor victims of the claw attacks.
You tell.
Go on, details.
The hell beasts that I saw the other day through here, this one in particular, it raised its claw up and it looked too familiar.
Did it strike? Are you okay?
Oh no, I think I'm okay. It was far away this time, although I'm afraid to pull my planchette up again if it's there in real time. It came out of the trees.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's all right. It came out of the trees where that figure disappeared into.
The trees, did they seem to be illuminated on fire again, or?
No, nothing was on fire.
There was light, as if it was the fires of the distance illuminating them.
Oh, yes. There was some kind of glow about them, like an incendiary, but it was so fast. I was really focused on following that purple glow. Another strange thing, this place here, through the planchette, looks different. Similar, but different. If anybody else wants to try to look through, I can't really explain it. I'm still a little concerned about why we were talking about Grungnir.
Grungnir, Grungnir is dead. We were just informed by the constables moments ago. Do you truly not remember anything?
No.
Going on.
I saw Grungnir disappear. I did not see him die here.
No. None of us saw him die here. We were told that he died here and thus came. Constable Renault, do you remember this?
I recall this. And it's very strange that you do not, unless there's some shadow work going on. Something shifting perspective. This is something that I could work on, perhaps. How does that affect overall memory? Perhaps a certain section of the brain. Anyway. No, yes, I remember.
So you remember, Constable?
Not at all. I remember coming out the asylum and then going for a walk. It was nice enough out I didn't need the coat.
Renault, how can this be? What could have possibly happened between then and now that would have caused them to have this memory lapse?
Perhaps something that interrupted the synaptic responses, but I'm not entirely sure. I've only got some research in that. It doesn't really do anything except for the analyzing readers.
How about triggers? Yes. I believe that I've read research papers about things that may trigger such episodes. Do you think perhaps something like the card? Do you think the card might have triggered this episode?
Oh,
This
head
lap?
trauma.
Well, I mean, memory aside, we all saw this figure go through the trees, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Well, I
absolutely.
didn't, but yes.
Would it behoove us to follow him? Maybe
alright.
he has answers. At least he can explain why he's purple.
I can tell you this: you wouldn't be able to find him. You no longer see him. Too much time has passed in between now and then. But Casper, you're just on the periphery of the group, looking south from what I see here. You can see another cloaked figure, but this time it doesn't seem like the light coming off of it is truly visible. Instead, you see a kind of a jagged motion, as if the light that it has within it is flickering on and off, on and off.
There's another something right over here. I'm not crazy. You can see it, right?
Where? And
But where are you speaking, Constable?
where are you looking?
Out south.
Well, no, I'm looking in the wrong direction.
Oh.
I'm not able to get in the boundary.
Constable is okay. Constable, you began to approach, and the light simply faded. Shahid, likewise, the light that you see coming off of the creature down below was simply not there, just for a brief moment. And then, for some reason, it picked back up, and now it's flickering again.
Perhaps a spatial distortion? I can barely see what you're talking about, but I do believe you this time.
Spatial distortion. Elaborate. For once.
Well,
What do you mean?
Well, overall, when you're looking at something and it's being directly observed, sometimes based off of your own perception, it can level off in a way that only you can see. Perhaps there's something that has gone through the base understanding that you are capable of seeing that we could not, or maybe we see it on a different level than you do.
While Renault is talking, you can see this figure look back and apparently notice you guys and walk into the trees.
Perhaps we should follow him. You're an officer, Mr. Casper.
But yes,
Did
I don't
you-
do anything related to following people in the dark. That is not my forte.
You all. That looked. I would swear it looked at us. It looked right at us.
I think it definitely clocked us, yeah.
So arrest him? I don't know. At least question him. I don't know how this works, but we've already missed one. Perhaps we should get another.
Right, yeah. I'm gonna draw my gun and start
All
heading.
very viable options.
Casper, as soon as you begin moving forward towards the figure which has now walked away into the woods in the distance, the light is gone and any trace of him is also gone.
Miss Moore,
Yes.
maybe... No, I can't see it anymore. Maybe it's going somewhere only you could see.
It didn't work last time. It was gone. I'm gonna look up with the planchette. I wherever he is, I'm next to.
Yeah, you see now something was standing directly in front of you, but its back was to you. There was a horrific landscape beyond it. Trees were aflame. You saw things coming up out of the ground. None of them looked right. The thing that was there immediately turned its head around 180 degrees to look at you. Its body then spun around to meet you. Long, gangly arms that ended in a possibly long, clawed hands whose size is easily the size of your torso, began to lash out at you as soon as you kicked up the planchette.
All right. This way is a fire. The whole world is scorched. I don't understand. It doesn't look remotely familiar to Fallendrift at all.
With my knowledge of the city, can I recall there ever being a fire in Ludgrave Park?
Yeah, can you give me a history check? And because you've been here all your life, you can make it with advantage.
Yes, I just have to make my sheet bigger.
Oh, for TTRPGs, what's up?
Could I do that same role since I've also been there all my way?
He's been doing it
I got a
in
nat 20.
yeah, you do. He's been doing it in an investigatory capacity, and that's why it's a special
Alright.
thing for him. You have the planchette, he has this.
Got it.
So you got a nat 20. Hold on, I'm coming over someone's speakers. Nope, not anymore. No. That's weird. Anyway, you got a natural 20. Yes. 7 years ago, you know of a fire that broke out in this area. That destroyed the district immediately up to the north, and so much of that fire then came down into Ludgrave Park, and so many of the trees just went up in flames. In fact, that's one of the reasons why Ludgrave Park is just so bare of trees. Many of them were taken down after the fires burned themselves out, and barren patches of land ever since. However, your Nat 20 will also uncover that about 150 years ago, there was another fire here. You remember about 3 years ago, you were doing some investigation on something, and you happen to have come across a reference to a fire that had occurred at some point in Fallendrift's past. There was nothing more on it. There was no other information as to what started it or anything. You started diving down in that rabbit hole. You uncovered nothing. You even managed to ask some people about it. No one else knows anything about it. You even researched it. I mean, dude, you got a nat 20 plus. What was your total, Mod?
+2, so 22.
A total of 22. Yeah, so you're looking at this like there's a piece of missing history here. 100% piece of missing history. In fact, when you cross-referenced it with, quote, official history books, there's no mention of a fire 150 years ago.
Right. You're saying you're seeing everything on fire through that planchette, yeah?
Yes, only through the planchette. And this is not the first time. This happened a few days ago.
Right. I don't know how familiar you are all with Ludgrave, but little under a decade ago, there was a fire. District to the north completely burnt down. The fires came through the park and did some awful damage that he gestures around to like the empty patches because haven't quite recovered from. But there's another time, 150 years ago or so, I know there was a fire. I found, a report of a fire here, but every avenue I look down to find out more about it, it's nothing. It's the kind of absence of information that speaks to somebody hiding something.
Why would they hide a fire? And how could you hide a fire? That should be recorded everywhere in personal journals.
Well, based off of the way you meet, no, I can't use that word, common newsletters went around these times, would likely be prohibited via censorship. Whoever's in power may have some sway over what is written, what is publicly known, what is possibly portrayed through the common folk, and what they even talk about on a regular basis. So it is possible that if they were of powerful rhetoric, they could have hidden the entirety of the event and called it a fever dream, something in the water, some would say.
Renault, as you were saying that, about how far away would you imagine yourself to be? Because I'm taking a look at Foundry, and I see everyone. Okay.
Sorry.
No. As soon as Renault starts talking and approaching everyone, Casper, you start seeing things again. You start seeing a purplish glow down in the woods to the south that you were not able to see until Renault began coming closer. Erin, are you still having problems with the VTT?
Yeah.
So even closing the browser and whatnot, that doesn't do it for you?
No, when I open it up, the map, it says that the foreground is smaller than...
Hold on. I can fix that right now.
But it also gave me a warning that it was severely lagging.
Okay, I can fix all that right now. 1 second.
Okay.
And this goes here, this goes here. Let's refresh everything. Okay, press F5.
All right, hold on. Let me actually sign back in because I got out of it.
Okay, cool. So while you're taking care of that, go ahead.
Renault,
Yes.
remember what happened at the asylum when half the people were standing outside and all of you were standing inside and I was standing outside and I wasn't able to hear anything because there was some kind of triggering
An anomaly.
Yes, and it only worked when I stepped across the threshold and we were all together. I believe, Miss Moore, if you may, whenever you can you please come here? I believe that when she approaches, we should all be able to see this purple anomaly again.
I'm going to approach, but just so you know, my computer almost died on me, so I'm not going back into Foundry.
Okay, no problem. And then I'll take control of your character and move you within the vicinity.
Thank you. I'll try to voice what I'm doing.
Okay.
Whatever you did on Foundry made it so I can't see anything now.
Refresh.
No.
Press F5 on your browser.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, God. Okay. It's all right. We're going to go to Party of the Mind. Or Party of the Mind, Theater of the Mind.
I love that party.
You guys are all... So we imagine that you are now about 10 feet away from each other.
Yeah.
Renault, you had come in. You, Ophelia, were still staring at the initial woods while people began drifting off. Casper was the first to leave the party. Casper, when you first left the party and started walking down south or southeasterly, trying to track that figure with the purple glow, as you walked further away from everyone, it faded. Then Ophelia started meandering over. Shahid, of course, had come closer to you. Shahid, you never stated that you were looking for that figure, but continued to talk. During that time, nothing else was happening. That was really odd, until Renault came closer to both the constable and Shahid. Then the constable, you saw that figure again, as if it were tied to Renault's distance from you. Ophelia, as you began to approach, you feel a coming from your hands, where the planchette is.
Okay, nobody move. Everybody freeze. I'm going to use the planchette before I lift it, like what are they called? The magnet things. What the fuck are they called? Where you find treasure?
Metal detector?
Metal detector.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna kind of like move to each person, like starting with whoever's closest to me. I'm just gonna assume it's Casper, and see if the sound gets, or that feeling, electric feeling, gets stronger or weaker.
It does not get any stronger as you approach people.
Oh, okay.
Try something else.
Actually, let me just change that. When you first came to Shahid, all right. So Shahid is at the top, like the northernmost person in the party at this point. Okay.
Right.
When you first came over to Shahid, there was no real difference. Then it did start getting a little bit stronger as you came down to Renault. It did not change in intensity as you... it started to change in intensity as you came to Casper, and I hate saying that, but that's exactly how this would work. It's going to be totally misleading, but either way, go with it.
Wait, hold on. So it not Shahid, but yes, it started getting stronger for Renault.
Yeah.
And then even stronger for Casper?
Yeah, but by like a very tiny amount.
Okay.
I'm gonna step closer to Renault. Because when he got close to me, you said that it reappeared. So I'm gonna see if stepping closer to him does anything.
Yeah, by all means. If you are, you don't have Foundry up, do you?
No.
Okay, no problem. Then I'll change it. So you step closer to Renault, putting your back to the figure in the woods behind you, unless you'd like step alongside him, and then you both kind of look off in the distance. So
Yeah.
okay, perfect. So you do that, and Ophelia, you're standing still. As he moves towards Renault, the planchette is not vibrating any stronger or less.
Okay. I just realized I blew my nose into the microphone. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna lift up the planchette and look at both of them quickly.
Look at the both of them.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, not the trees or anything. I want to see what's going on. Like, is there like an aura or something? I feel like I would have like some sort of fascination with auras.
So you lift up the planchette, you look at the crystal in the middle of it, and you can see that there is something beyond them, but you don't see their auras. Instead, you see right through them, as you pretty much have in the past. It doesn't seem to be anything different about them other than they are faded and you're looking at a different reality. But the reality seems a little bit stronger now than it did when you were at the northern end of the park.
Okay, and there's somebody there.
You're distinctly... Well, you're on the other side of them right now is a small graveyard that's always been there.
Uh-huh.
And you start looking around. And you don't really notice anything. You can see figures in the distance moving in a very awkward fashion. You can see in the distance, climbing up the side of a building, a figure whose movements seem more akin to stop motion than anything, like it's out of focus, or extremely fast movement in between the lurching, in between the lurches going up the side. How much around the park are you willing to take a look?
I'm gonna turn to Renault and I'm going to say, you stay here. I feel like whoever the people around us are moving based on your movement, if that makes sense. But
I'd hope not.
I am going to do a cursory roundabout, I suppose, of the park. I'll shout if I see anything exciting, although a lot is going on inside of this planchette right now.
You can feel it still vibrating slightly in your hands, the most intense that it's been thus far. You lift it up to your face and begin looking?
Yeah.
As you do, the world around it changes. Something is illuminating the area directly to the south. You know that to be the fountain itself. It's like a purplish glow, and in waves, it passes from behind you and goes slowly, effortlessly, to the center of the park. You can see figures in the distance moving around rapidly, as if in a battle of some kind. You can see out of one of the long spindly hands on the far side of the fountain, very much in the distance down to the south. You can see him like almost as if he's summoning fire, as if they were like small threads strewn from his own body and then coalescing into a ball of flame and casting it towards other creatures, big hulking monstrosities, easily 7 to 8 feet tall, muscular build, and all of them swiping with a backhanded motion towards these long, spindly things, some of which have horns. And as something about 75 feet looks towards you, about 75 feet away looks towards you, you can see it has like yellowish glowing eyes, and as if the energy that is providing that light to the eyes is also within the mouth. You could see the silhouette of teeth as well. There's a battle taking place in Great Park, very far to the south.
I'm gonna take it down. The figure that was throwing the fireballs, did he look like he was in that world, or was he in the present world and I was seeing...
Everything I just described was in that world.
All right, and how was he... Could I see how he was dressed with the fire, like, illuminating him?
There were no dresses, there was no clothing on those figures, but they were also quite some distance away. The figures that are attacking everyone, the big hulking things, dressed in radiant robes and multiple colors as if swaddled in silk.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I'm gonna rush back to the group. Renault, you could move now. There is a battle happening right now here. Or maybe not right now. I don't know how time works here. It's through the glass. There's monsters.
Check your head.
No. There's nothing wrong with me.
Oh.
It's through the planchette. What I've been seeing this whole time, but it's culminating at the fountain. The purple is the mist is going towards the fountain or towards the park. It's coming from the fountain. There's men with fireballs. I couldn't see. They were so far away. There were people fighting with these flames and these monsters with these big clawed hands. I know how it sounds, but there's something happening right now.
The planchette is vibrating intensely in your hand. You just happen
would I
to...
recall any of this, like historically speaking, like with anything from the museum, like any like archaeological findings or any anything museum related that would kind of tip off to like her story?
No
Or is it
relic
really
exists
like
from that
swing?
period.
Got you.
The planchette vibrating in your hand, you just happen to look down at it, and because you're holding I'm assuming that you're holding the planchette, and like if you were to look through the crystal, you would see the ground. Something like a tail just passed.
I'm gonna pin it like against me.
Pin the
planchette so that I can't see through it. Like I'm like keeping it close.
Got it. And as soon as that happens, it stops.
Oh, it stopped buzzing. That when I saw a tail. This is happening now. There was this disgusting tail that just swiped right. It could have hit my feet. I would have never known. But it's not buzzing anymore. I am properly scared. We need to get answers, but I don't know how to fight these things.
They were throwing fire around, right?
They were being dealt with by fire, but I don't know how that was.
Probably gonna regret this, but you mind if I take a look?
No, please. I'm gonna give it right to him.
And I'm gonna hold it up, but before looking through it, I'm not gonna be looking at the park. I'm gonna be kind of looking at any sort of like skyline or building profile that I can see through the trees.
Okay.
And then look through the planchette and see if the buildings in the distance look any different.
Absolutely. Has anyone else here looked through the planchette on their own? Did Shahid?
I have once over her shoulder, yes.
You have. Wow. Yeah. Okay. The sound, by the way, is now coming back through the mic, but only when you speak. That's so weird. Okay. You looked at it once. Did you notice something?
The only time that I saw something was when we were at the asylum. I looked through it and I saw the individual who was behind the reception desk.
Constable, when you look through, you can feel it. The moment that you take it and you see something through the crystal, like the ground below, vibrating in your hand, like it's almost making your fingertips numb to hold on to this. You lift it up and you begin looking around at the sky, at the skyline. The light in the park now is sufficiently light. Morning has finally come. As you're looking, you see buildings on fire, specifically to the north. You see the old Ashwater district completely engulfed in flame. And the Ashwater district now has nothing in it but the remnants of that fire from 7 years ago.
I lower the planchette. Right, I don't think that this is looking into some parallel world. I think this is looking into the past. When I turn it north, I see Old Ashwater on fire. just like it was 7 years ago.
So you're saying that when you're looking through the planchette, you're in fact peering 7 years into the past of Lopez Park. Am I understanding you correctly, Constable?
That's my best guess at the moment. Yeah.
Ophelia, that doesn't track, considering some of those things can... Well, it could track. You interpret it, but you can't deny that other things that you have seen have affected you physically. So if it's the past, then it's affecting the present.
Yes, I'm sorry, Constable. The monsters that are at the fountain were not here 7 years ago. There was no fire wielding fighter destroying creatures. I don't know if that's the case.
Constable, did you see these fire-wielding creatures when you looked into the planchette?
You're really quiet.
Your audio is really, really garbled, dude.
That's because I backed up when you said I could hear
Gotcha.
that when you can. Were you able to see these fire-wielding individuals when you looked through the planchette?
I wasn't looking south to the fountain. I was looking at the sky.
My only curiosity was maybe you're both experiencing different timelines. Maybe you the past and you the present parallel.
It's worth a check. And I'm gonna turn around towards the fountain and
you
look through again.
And you look down. Renault, where are you in relation to this?
I'm standing in the same spot that Ophelia asked me to stand, kind of contemplating all the factors that are going in. So he's kind of like standing there looking around, trying to get his bearings on what's going on, come to a conclusion on his own.
You're within about 10 feet of everyone?
Yes, it looks like I am.
And where is the cube in on you?
Right pocket. Right like lapel pocket.
Oh, it's up here on on the breast pocket?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
During this time, your breast has been itching a little bit. And as the planchette gets raised again, and this time he turns towards the fountain, that itch goes into a full-on vibration of the cube in that pocket. Yeah, it's vibrating with energy. You know what this thing can do. It's doing something horrific. Or rather, it's behaving horrifically. It could explode. You don't know. All you know is that its intensity is growing, almost as like time are standing still, and you can see the constable now with the planchette slowly aiming south towards the fountain. That thing is going. What are you doing?
I'm right there. Right. Stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. Don't move that any closer. Let's go in the opposite direction of what you were doing.
All right. I start turning back to them. I think I lower the planchette.
Okay, you do.
Does the intensity from the cube lessen?
It does lessen, but just as he moved it, he happened to have moved it slowly in your direction, and it intensified, but this time a little bit different.
It is buzzing. I do not understand the full intricacies of endodynamics, but I would like to try something. Miss Ophelia, I don't know if this is an energy source. You kind of understand the base premise of an energy source?
Yes, I suppose. I don't see how that cube could be an energy source, though.
Well, that is a long story. Compression capabilities are possible in my time, where you can get a lot of. Anyway, let me try something. And Renault's going to hold the cube out away from himself, and then he's going to stop. He's going to take his little koozie stick. He's going to extend it, and then he's going to put it out.
Okay. Hold up. Let me address this, because this is two separate actions. One is holding the cube out away from you, right?
Yep.
In whose direction is that cube?
So it looks like it's just past Ophelia.
You can tell me. So Pat are you next to Casper?
I'm pointing. No, I am. I gotta make sure because I can't see. Oh, there you go. Yes, I am right next to Casper.
Okay. As you hold the cube out, Casper, how are you holding the planchette?
I had it lowered down, so I'm not holding it up right now.
Okay, not a problem. So we figured this thing to look like a narrow heart-shaped object with a crystal in the middle that typically people have been looking at. Where is the point, or where is the crystal? Like, if someone were to look through the crystal from the outside, what would they see? Like your leg?
I think, yeah, they would see either his leg or just behind him.
Okay, Renault, as you hold the cube out, give me a perception check.
Total is a 23.
You
Holy
catch a glimpse of a piercing ultraviolet, almost indescribable light casting on Casper's leg, just behind the planchette.
I remember this light. This light. There's tied. You are tied to the thing. Constable, what is that on your leg? What do you have going on there?
As he shifts around, he moves the planchette, and you can see the light is also moving from the planchette.
No. Return that. No, return that. At the same time, there's multiple processes. You need to keep your leg that way. Also, hold the planchette this way so that I can direct this experiment. This is very fascinating.
Right, so I hold the planchette here, I stand. How do I put my legs?
Just do it as if you were a corner girl. Just place it forward.
I'm not going to do that.
Is there something particular about that leg? That one right there.
I look down at the leg without moving the planchette or anything. Do I see this light?
Any woven dreams?
Everyone
perhaps?
sees the light. As the cube is held out and the planchette is orientated, you guys quickly figure out that sound is coming right through someone's thing, and it is blaringly loud. Am I the only person hearing that?
It's Eric.
It is Eric.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
buddy.
Literally good.
Yeah, the Sirenscape is like really, really loud. It's coming through the feed again. As you hold the cube out, whatever energy that represents is being magnified by the lens of the planchette and is casting something down on the ground. You want to take it? Go ahead, dude.
Is it possible? I wouldn't want to harm anyone, but I'll do it if need be. I can look through perhaps my visual classifications, and then perhaps this has an effect on the secondary plane that you are visualizing through your planchette, and certain parts of us have. But maybe some influence on that other world. I will look through. All right, I'm gonna try and put the cube in front of the planchette facing south.
You do, and immediately the world changes for everyone. You see in front of you, everyone sees it like a huge projection on the world in front of you. All of the trees are now somewhat transparent. Everything is on fire and yet not on fire, all at the same time. You can see straight down the path at about 150, 200 feet down, I think even 300 or so to get to the fountain. A massive battle of some kind is taking place. There are hulking creatures swaddled in multicolored silks, headdresses, and more, each of them swiping at these spindly creatures, some with horns, glowing eyes, and radiating mouths. You see an entire battle taking place, and just beyond them, a massive thing, as if it's rising up out of the ground, or at least its lower half is in there, its fists planted firmly on the ground, casting something, and as it raises its hand, you can see more of these demon-like creatures coming up out of the ground. Coming in from behind you, a couple of these things start running past you, but they don't interact with you. A couple of them, one turns, except for one turns around, as if like in a demonic voice, pointing right at Ophelia. And then, Ophelia, you see your eyes, something occurs, everything goes black just for a second, and then you refocus, and something just walked right through you, and that thing was pointing right through you to it, and has now redirected it going down south. They can't see you, but you can see everything around you.
This was what I was talking about. What did you do, Renault?
You're muted.
In theory, this is what I had, at least for the most part, surmised would be would allow a type of output, an energy source that isn't local to this time, that I reluctantly brought along with me, that intensifies. Like I said, imagine a giant steam wheel, or no, do you have those? Well, maybe. Anyway, it is a great output device, and it seems to interact with the planar shifts and some of the other very strange devices we all have here. I'm still trying to figure out what's wrong with the leg, but for the most part,
Renault, something you snap out of it just for a quick second. You come out of the rabbit hole of thought. The thing that you have intensifies whatever you're doing, whatever it happens to be interacting with. When you look through, when you use your goggles, it intensified the light going through the goggles. When you hold it up to the planchette, it intensifies the planchette's effects. The constable also has a cube, he said.
Yeah, the one that fell out of my boot when I was in the park earlier. And almost killed me.
Right, and it doesn't seem to have the same kind of an effect.
But I lost myself for a moment. Apologies. Something to take into account is that we may have several pieces of a puzzle. We all may be part of an intricate design. Anyway, I would like to not see these terrible visages anymore, so I'm just going to move this away.
You do, and the world goes back to what it was.
Wait a second. So you're saying your cube did this. Your cube, I don't know what it does. My planchette, I'm still not sure what it's doing. But Mr. Shahid, what do you have? If this is a puzzle, as you say, what do you have, Mr. Shahid, that does the same sort of thing?
Perhaps he has the knowledge. Although we all have a physical item, an abstract is something that would be necessary for this. You have come across many deductions that have been accurate before, and had led to us getting through our day with our lives.
The only thing that I've ever remotely used was a simple mirror that shattered once I dropped it. I mean, I have the pieces, but it's just a mirror on the back of a medallion. I mean, besides that, I don't have any planchettes or power cube or other cube.
I could fix that. I could. It's very difficult, but you can fix mirrors. You have to develop a certain liquid, but it's kind of similar to a resin structure, but I could fix that. Perhaps that is something that would aid you in our investigation.
In time, but I don't think that's what you're referencing. I mean, I do remember Otto saying that he has looked in mirrors, and Shahid reaches into his pocket and pulls out one of the shards of the mirror that he had picked up to fix later, to verify whether you are in fact seeing something. Now, I have done something along these lines, and he lifts it over his shoulder once again to see if there's any reflection behind his back. He is facing the group, so Ludgrave, the northern section of Ludgrave would be to his back.
Yes, you do, and you see many people enjoying the park. There's only one problem. They're all dead.
Do you see something?
I see dead people.
That is unfortunate. Wait, there's no one else here. Oh, it's the thing. A different perceptive.
I saw dead people too at the oh wait, no, I wouldn't have said that because I don't remember the last 24 hours.
Steve, what state are the dead in? Am I seeing like decayed dead people? Am I seeing like apparitions of
You are
dead
seeing what we would call zombies, but they are behaving as if they are normal people.
Got you. I am seeing things that reminds me of what we all physically saw in the asylum. Remember, like like that.
You called them specters.
No, not that. Like the person behind like when those beings came to be, like the one with the book.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
and but they're going about their day to day.
Constable, do you have any input on this? This is very, very curious.
Beginnings of thought, but maybe your cube does something with the planchette, and sort of tentatively reach into a pocket, remembering the fact that it very nearly killed him the last time he touched it, and pull out the little cube.
You feel for it, and it's a... You feel it, and it's... ouch. You're going to roll a d4. Oh, here, I got it. You're going to take 3 points of damage.
I highly recommend, if it is something that harms you, perhaps it is something that is negative against your very planner placement, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you have it in your hand now. It's not doing it now. It was just the initial. It's like that. Okay.
Yeah.
For 3 points of damage, that's like putting a fork in a socket.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
He's using the old electric key cleaner.
So you have it. It's in your hand.
I'm gonna move it closer to the mirror and see if that does anything.
I hadn't thought of this. Hold on. Wait. I have to do the math.
Confession booth.
I have to do the math in my head. Yes. Are you okay? Who has the mirror currently? Shahid. All right. So Shahid is, and you're looking behind you, right? Okay, cool. So you're facing south, and you're looking north. All right, sweet. Yeah, you're facing south, but you're looking north through the mirror.
Right.
Okay. So you bring that small cube closer to the mirror, and Shahid, you can see an overlay of life enveloping them, and like you see the skin appear in livelihood, blood returning to the body.
The muscles and vascular tissues and such, they're rematerializing on top of the entities. They're looking more alive. But I'm witnessing this. It's amplifying what I'm seeing. So if I'm seeing them decayed, you using that power source, it made them alive. Then you saw with the planchette another parallel universe, and
yes, parallel universe.
But when you used the cube, it was powerful enough for us all to see it without the use of any
a type of emanation.
So is it everything becoming more real?
With the planchette, it almost felt like,
Mr. Renault,
you know, when you got a lantern and you hold it up behind some stained glass, it puts out the image.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
and the brighter the flame, the better the image. Mr. Renault, are there different, how would you say, intensities of these power cubes?
Oh, I've only experimented with this 3 times in my recent years, and all of them were a substantial amount of damage in the experiment.
Hold on. Damage for yours, but almost like restoration for the other.
Be too much.
I'd assume so.
Casper, you still have that in your hand, right?
Yeah.
How close are you to Renault and his cube?
I was moving towards Shahid, so I think I was moving away from Renault because he was next to me before.
Okay.
So was that going to yeet him towards me?
Definitely move up to.
Why don't you put your Casper? If you put your cube with the planchette, and
yes.
then
This is really strange.
it's like
an experiment.
Polar
At the same time that he's got his next to it, or
No.
right?
Renault,
Didn't
no.
think so.
Like space.
I will go to you, Shahid, and perhaps
I will go
Constable, you
very
can go to
wide
Miss Ophelia.
around.
All right.
All right.
Miss Ophelia, I'm on my way.
Oh, okay. I don't know if this is the greatest idea. What's happening
Well,
what's
the
happening to
greatest
my
of
planchette?
science.
Okay, who has the planchette?
I think I do now. I think
Okay.
it was replaced.
Casper,
Yes.
what are you doing?
I'm going towards Ophelia, but avoiding Renault as I go.
Okay. Renault's just on the other side of Ophelia, so actually you're getting closer to Renault. So
Don't put her in the middle of you.
Well,
yeah. So-
Maybe you in front and the other.
I will go to
I
the opposite
feel-
side.
Yeah.
all right.
Renault, all your physics are starting to make sense now.
So you guys are right, like okay. So here's the constable, here's Ophelia, here's Renault, and there's Shahid off in the distance, like some 15 feet away. Renault, you're right next to Ophelia. Casper, go ahead. Where do you
I'm
want to?
gonna hold my cube sort of towards the planchette. In the
You're
same
like
way
15
that
feet away right
Oh,
now.
can you move? Oh, you
yeah.
can't move. You can't move your guy.
I can. I'm completely blind though.
Oh,
Oh, it's
he's
not
to he's to the
the
north of you by like 10, 15 feet.
the graphic
3
isn't
boxes.
loading for you. Okay, yeah, you can move east, or excuse me, move west by 10 feet. That's Shahid.
Oh, there we go.
That's Shahid.
Oh,
That was me.
Yeah, that's 5. Okay, so you're right next to Ophelia, and as you do, Renault, your cube is increasing in intensity a little bit. Casper, as you get close, you feel like in your finger again. You get a little bit of a shock, but it's like oh, and your finger actually feels numb. And you look, and there is no damage there. You're back up at full.
What?
Ha! It's
What?
giving life. It's giving life.
So it is restorative. So
So that one, no. First, yes.
well, hold on, just to verify. Casper, can we trade? I want to hold it with my hand that had the necrotic damage.
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, as he takes a 5-foot step back.
I'm gonna straight arm the planchette to him as I take
Yeah.
the cube.
Okay, so
Let the swaps happen.
but not everyone can see the VTT. So Renault has moved about 10 feet down to the south and about 5 feet away from Ophelia, about 10 feet or 15 feet away from Casper. As he did that, you can feel the cube in your hand go a little bit more dead, Casper.
When you go, it's probably not you. It's the cube you've got. It
Oh,
makes
Should
mine
I-
less active.
all right. I'll come closer, but if you die, it's not my fault.
Oh,
No,
that's
take a step.
foreboding.
I'll take a step closer, and I'll actually go directly south of where Ophelia is.
Got it. So, yep, you're standing right next to Ophelia and at the 6 o'clock position, and Casper's at the 2 o'clock position of Ophelia.
Okay, ready? And switch. I'm gonna take that. I'm just gonna hold and let go immediately.
Yeah, I grab the planchette as soon as I drop. the
Okay,
cube.
you got it. So, Ophelia, you now have Casper's cube, and there's there is a bright light that shoots out of your hand, like definitely noticeable in this morning sun.
Uh-huh.
And you look, the necrotic damage is not there. You are back at foot full.
Oh, I was right. It's restorative. This is excellent. Here you go. I'm gonna give it back to Casper, and I'm gonna take the.
I wouldn't necessarily call it restorative. More like a term I know as cellular regeneration, but
Okay.
it could be something
What?
that would be beneficial for you.
Mr. Renault, I beg you, give me this one simple explanation that it's just
Restorative, yes.
Yes, okay. So, if that's restorative, yours, I believe, is it... How much damage did you say that has done in the 3 times you've tested it?
The answer is yes.
Okay, so they're opposites. So how are... And my planchette is like a mirror, as is Shahid's actual piece of looking glass. So perhaps mine sees the... Well, you saw the people that weren't there, but perhaps mine shows planes of existence that aren't visible.
You said there was one where there was nothing but a forest fire, but Mr. Shahid, you said you saw people.
When Ms. Ophelia, Ms. Moore, when you looked through yours, you looked through them, yes? Through your planchette?
Yes.
As one would look through the type of material in the center of the planchette. While I am observing something in a reflective surface. So maybe it's the material compounds of these two things, being that one's to be seen through, one is to be reflective. So maybe this is reflecting off of something present and one's seen through the other.
What happens?
Metaphorically speaking, of course.
What happens if you and I got closer the way the cubes got closer? What would happen to our instruments?
I'm in that, and Shahid walks over and he extends out a shard of the mirror and kind of places it.
Okay.
I'm gonna go very slowly.
I'll look over her shoulder.
So the planchette begins to near the mirror. Nothing begins to happen unless you're doing something more than other than just putting two things together.
Oh no, I was attempting to look through the planchette into the reflection.
Oh!
Ah! Inception.
Cool. All right, awesome. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. This is cool. Oh fuck. This is the key to a puzzle, dude. Congrats. You each get 100 XP for this.
Yay!
Let's go.
You do that. You look through the planchette and then at the mirror. First, you're looking at the mirror, and then you pass the planchette in front. When you look at the mirror, what you see are the people who are wandering around. You see them as like zombies or dead bodies, just kind of enjoying the day. When you remove the mirror, you kind of look back and you don't see them there. Okay? So let's establish they are not there when you look in the mirror, but they are there and they just look like dead people having a good time. Correct. When you put the planchette in front of the mirror and you look through the planchette and into the mirror, the whole fucking scene changes. What you see is and something immediately running towards you. Give me a perception check while we're at it.
Yeah.
Who needs to leash their dogs?
10.
A total of 10. All right, that would be fairly easy. Yeah, you can see that it seems to be one of those, what you guys have been calling ash hounds, and it's like leaping right for you or coming up from behind you. What are you doing? 3, 2.
Lowering my view, or
you feel like just as you lower it, which according, if your brain timed it out correctly, just as the claw was like about to rip through you, you feel like Yeah, you feel like you actually felt a little bit of cold hit your rear right shoulder.
I just saw one of those ash hounds. It touched me. I mean, it leaped at me, and I averted my head the way that you have done in the past. But it was so close that I could actually. I mean, it was like a gust, but it touched me. I fear that if I would have held it through its entirety, that it would have actually struck me.
I don't understand the relationship between our two looking glasses. As
Go ahead. Sorry.
as the like relative to the cubes, it's so clearly opposite and complementary with the cubes, but I saw that look.
Everything. I believe that you're on the right track. Everything's polarity, like the healing factor and the explosive factor, the positive and the negative, the life and the
Night and day, yes, opposite and complementary. You need one. You can't have one without the other. So
correct, which is why the feeling lessens when Mr. Renault walked away. He had to, in fact, be close in order for this combustion. Is that the word that I'm looking for, Mr. Renault?
That would be the proper term, yes.
Renault, do you Renault, give me an intelligence check.
All right.
And
oh
wow.
So close. 21.
Wow.
Good rolls tonight.
21. Holy fuck. Wait a minute. Oh my god. No, that was a save, dude. Not I just need to check.
Sure. That'd be better.
18
It was
plus.
better. 23. All right.
The planchette sees things that aren't there. The mirror sees things that aren't there, but they are two different kinds of aren't there. What does your cube? What's that?
The kind of different levels of the past. Okay.
Present.
Your cube seems to enhance things.
Yep. Intensify. Yep. Oh, and that thing seems to, bolster cellular regeneration. So,
The mirror.
I want to try that. Mr. Shahid,
Yes.
you have a better idea of the kinds of things that you look at through your mirror. I'm going to, in close proximity, have this to the mirror to see if these are, in fact, some type of special devices, perhaps harnessed in some manner, so that you can optimize your ability to look through it. So, if you don't mind, I'll be over there in a second. Okay, that's fine. Come closer.
Okay. Coach?
Well, look through your mirror the entire time. I'm going to back up. I'm going to back up. Now look through. Look through.
And what are you doing with the cube?
And I'm going to get closer. Let me know. Let me see.
Renault through the mirror.
And let me see. And let me know what you see as I approach. If there's any variations or changes in your visual spectrum.
Okay, so now the way that everyone is situated, let me switch over to the VTT real quick. The way that everyone is situated, Shahid, what are you looking at right now? Through the mirror. Okay.
Through the mirror, reflection of what I'm assuming is going to be Renault behind me.
Got it. Okay, and in the distance ahead of you by like 40 feet or so is the tiny graveyard, right?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. So, just making sure. All right, as Renault,
in front of me.
what was that?
I said, yes, Mr. DM, the spooky graveyard is in front of me when I'm looking at
Okay, yeah, just making sure, dude.
It's in front of me, but I'm not paying attention.
As you look in the mirror, you can see Renault approaching. And you also see plenty of dead people behind him. Renault looks okay. As Renault begins to approach, you can see that field of depth begin getting deeper and deeper. You can see more and more dead souls all around you. Just as he approaches, like within 5 feet or within 2 feet or so, he gets that cube right up to it, almost to the point that the mirror is touching it. and the mirror goes zzz. The mirror itself, you see a shattering of the reality around you, as if the reality around you were shattered. And as each of the walls or fabric, as each of the shards of reality begin to fall, you see a world which is unlike anything else that you have seen, except for the projection which occurred when that same cube was brought up to the planchette. The difference being, let's just say that you kind of like look around a little bit. You don't see signs of a battle. You see signs of a preparation of a battle. And you see lots of dead people slowly beginning to form on the ground, as if you were to watch the lifespan of so many in a very short amount of time. You see,
I feel like I'm looking at the beginning of this particular timeline of the war, which Ms. Moore was describing previously. The seeds or entities rising up from the ground. I see the preparations of battle. The reality around me is shattering like that of my mirror and crumbling around me.
All right.
And that's when it hits you. Through that mirror, when powered by Renault's cube, you see the threads of fate for everyone there. All at once, you see them come into the area and leave the area. You see them alive and you see them dead. Ultimately, you see their ultimate fate.
Oh my God.
What is it that you see? There was a change, wasn't there? I was right. There was a change.
I walk over and I grab Renault by his collar and I walk over towards the fountain where supposedly Grungnir was, and I shift him to see the position in which supposedly Grungnir's body was.
Ooh.
You begin walking towards the fountain?
Yes.
Who else is walking towards the fountain?
And I say, come. And I start describing what I'm seeing as I'm looking through it. It seems as it's the threads of fate. I feel like it's telling me people's paths. So what I'm presuming is if we walk right now towards the fountains and I look at this with the assistance of Renault's cube and the shard of my mirror, we may in fact be able to see Grungnir and his demise or his fate. That's why we originally had come. And he just keeps walking and talking, his voice echoing throughout.
I'll follow.
Okay, awesome. Ophelia's following.
I'm following as well.
Casper's following. Renault,
He's being dragged.
you're muted again.
I'm being dragged. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. I just want to make sure it was consensual. Alrighty.
Always.
So, guys, oh boy, this is cool. All right. So, I mean, is this the part that I say that we'll see you next week or no? No. Okay. So you guys start all right. Everyone starts walking. As you're looking at the mirror, first off, how are you walking? Because if you're looking at the mirror, you're looking behind you and walking backwards.
What I'm doing is it's like a rear view mirror. So I'm walking towards a fountain, but I'm using it like a rear view, and I'm
the chair. I'm the chair just grabbing onto.
I have my arm around her all the time.
All right. Awesome. All right. As you begin nearing the fountain, things you see people like and then conversations take place and then they move, and every time a conversation takes place you see someone begin thinking and then they reach into their pocket. You see and like a branching out of different versions of them all heading out. You see every single iteration of every single decision that everyone in this vicinity has ever made. You see every single possibility of everything that is occurring, and all of it culminates in death for everyone. But at one point, Renault's cube seemed to have moved away for a little bit, and that's when some of the detail was lessened. It seems like you can actually focus the amount of...
Yeah. Renault, if we adjust the distance between us and we look through a mirror such as this, we can actually adjust the speed in which the fates that are being told through said mirror move.
Through the mirror or the person looking through it?
The closer you come to me, the faster these visions appear through this
All right,
mirror.
I'm going to bring it closer to the mirror.
Slower, so we could actually manipulate it to kind of like speed up and then slow down and maybe pause to see particular instances.
That works.
As you do that, you see the hulking creatures coming in, those that have been attacking with backwards hands. Now that you are closer to the fountain by about, let's say, 100 feet, so you've halved the distance, you can see that these are tiger-headed and animal-headed creatures, all of them with odd backwards hands at war. And then you begin doing this, and you can see one of them is there and is absolutely huge. I mean, he's like 9 feet tall, bulky as hell, turning around and commanding some. As you approach and then you kind of like stumble for a second and you take a step back in order to regain your balance, you notice that as he was approaching, and then he began walking backwards. The closer you get to it, the closer you get to the present. You take a look at it, you can adjust, and you begin fine-tuning this until finally you hear,
"There is no sense in you fighting us. You understand that we control this material plane. What can Maran possibly do to us? You have no concept of reality. Mithud, you are blinded by the very drugs you peddle amongst these poor mortals. I tell you now, I know your real name. Fraser Blue, tell me now why I cannot defeat you."
and then as this conversation continues, you begin realizing that these tiger-headed beings and demons of some kind are led by two very powerful figures. The names that you heard, Methud and Marin or Fraz Blue, they seem to be the great generals in this battle that was now taking place in this area. And as you adjust it, you can see that as the fireballs of the demons underneath Marin or Fraz Blue were being hurled around, trees were being lit in flame. You take a look around, you can see so many of the buildings now going up in fire, are going up in flame as well. But you also note some of the dress of the people who are around in this area, and it's old by about 150 years.
Are they wearing any particular emblems that I may recognize from historical research?
No emblems other than the clothing of the mundane people, like passersby who have been gotten swept up in this.
This like Merzor Frazor Blue,
no,
or like a particular like heraldry or image.
Nothing at all. And you have been in that Mycroft Museum of Antiquities more times than you can count. You know pretty much everything that has ever been curated in there, at least since your tenure, and you never once have seen anything pertaining to a battle that took place 150 years ago, let alone anybody who was involved in it.
Are you guys seeing this? Look, please. There's these large figures. They're demons and tigers, and there's this Mythhood and this Madinor Frizar Blue. Does these names mean anything to you?
No.
Casper,
Not a single thing.
give me a history check. It's going to be out. It's very, very hard. It's going to be extremely hard.
Come on,
Get
Casper.
my advantage or no?
Oh yeah. It's going to be with
20.
with your typical thing.
Okay.
That's a 16. So that's not going to do it. But
We have the
plus one or plus
hyper trainer
three.
earlier, right?
yeah. You want to use
said
one of
it's
the.
gonna be-
You want to use
So it's
one of
gonna
the
be
inspirations.
Very hard.
It's going to be
I
very
was
hard.
going to use the pluses, but you
The
said very
pluses won't
hard.
get you there. You'd
All
have
right,
to.
I'll use one of the inspirations. Then.
Yeah. Now, mind you, I'm allowing the full roll because you get advantage on the roll. So go ahead and roll it again.
That's a dirty.
Now use the
Dirty 20, and you have a total of a +1, +2, and a +3. You could drop a +5 or 6 on there if you wanted.
I'll put a +5 on that.
Yeah, not a problem. You do. And the name Methud. There's another name that kind of comes to mind when you first hear Shahid say Methud, and it's Kadashal. Kadashal. No, it's Kadashal. Methud Kadashal. You've seen that name written. It was written in a report which you read as you were investigating the fire from 7 years ago. And it was reported that money apparently went to this person, but when you took a look at it, again, it was like the name just kind of blurred and disappeared off the page. You thought maybe something, your vision was you remember seeing that on the page. This guy runs something in in Fallendrift. Methud Kadashal.
No, he's still alive.
Methud Kadashal was paid something around the fire of 7 years ago.
Whoa.
How do you know that?
I saw it in the reports on the fire.
Ah, good record keeping for once.
But understand, what I saw was way, way older than 7 years ago. I mean,
Can I,
I'm being real.
can I look-
mean, did it be
can I look at
that
the mirror?
long?
Then
Please, anybody, look.
yeah, I want to look at the mirror and see what Shahid is seeing.
Okay. Renault's doing it too. Okay. Renault's holding up the cube. Okay. You do, and
Understand, your kind has already left this world. That was ages ago. Allow us, material beings, to finally have sway. And I promise you and yours will have their feast yet.
it just begins to move just a little bit to allow it to refocus for a moment.
You see?
Yeah.
You refocus it?
That's. I don't have either cube, or I don't have the.
Yeah.
Oh, you know. Shahid has that. I'm sorry, I didn't. Now I got it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm the one. Yeah.
I was just looking at it.
Got it. Okay. So, Casper is peeking around. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Method, your kind is antiquated. We shall take over one more time. Eradicate the living!
And with that call of eradicate the living, demons immediately pop up out of the ground, out of flame and brimstone, popping out, go and start charging. You see so many of these tiger-like creatures being taken down, only to see more descend in from the buildings nearby. And that is how this battle then begins.
What is happening? So you're saying that this person is still alive?
Well, either they're alive or someone's using their name, but it would be usually the purpose of using a false name is to go under the radar. If I was trying to go under the radar, I could pick a better name than Methud Kadashal.
So is this happening right now? Or
Looking through that mirror, that didn't look like 7 years ago. But
Steve, I'm gonna try and rotate the cube to see if it does any knob, like a knob towards this thing at all.
You know what? That's such a fucking good idea. I'm going to let it. Yeah, you end up fine-tuning the image. So what you guys essentially get out of this is, Shahid, first off, you still have the mirror in your hand, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to come back to you because you still have it in your hand, and assuming that you're still looking at it every now and then.
Yes.
So with that, Casper and Shahid also looking at the mirror. Renault starts fine-tuning it with the cube and stuff like that. Ophelia, you have the planchette in your hand. Okay. With the mirror, as Renault does that, you can see different kind of phases of life, really on a minute level. The amount of information that you get is quite a lot. What it sums up to is this discussion 150 years ago. The mirror allows you to see the souls of all those who perished in those fires, including the multiple people of Fallendrift. So the demons and whatever the hell these things are, they did battle, and Fallendrift fucking was annihilated in this area. And then, just as Renault kind of turns it or tweaks it a little bit, you see it skips ahead, and you see some of the people like laying down on benches like Renault himself had been doing, and it skips ahead a little bit and then rewinds a little bit as it continues to adjust. The overall picture of it that you get is that life continued 1 day later as if nothing happened. You have nothing in there. Give me 2 perception checks. 2 from Shahid, 1 from Casper.
All right.
Oof. Oh! Ooh, somebody got something.
I got a nat 20 for a 22 on my second one.
Awesome. All right, cool. And Casper, what'd you get?
12.
Okay, Casper, you don't notice it. Shahid, you do. There was a point there where Renault is adjusting, and you can see as it's going, like a scene goes, and then it's thunk black, and then he adjusts it again, and the scene continues. Renault just continues twisting the cube, unaware of what it is that you're seeing.
Oh, wait. Renault, can you, how do you say, reverse the imagery?
Counter rotation to my original vectors. Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
And
then once I see that blackout spot, I'm going to say, there.
Okay. You freeze it. Not a problem. You manage to freeze it. And there's a couple of things that you see here. Those things are fighting, and you see this demon drive his fist into the ground, and it causes a shockwave effect all through the area, which knocks many things over. Doesn't really destroy the buildings. He's not a god or anything like that. But it looks pretty fucking horrific. Then you see the tiger dude, like 9 feet tall, that guy, the one that they kept calling Methud. He like scrapes something up from the air around him, even reaches over to another of his kind, rips his fucking head off, reaches in as if he's holding something which you cannot see into that dude's head, and all you see is his eyes go. Something occurs, and wherever that beam goes, it's like a restored effect, and then just as that beam comes looping around into where you are, thunk, everything goes black. The very next frame of this movie, if you will, when you can see everything, is that the battle is raging on, but you see people like 75 feet away. One person is standing up, looking confused, obviously not a demon, and obviously not one of these tiger dudes. Just kind of wiping himself off as if he doesn't know what's happening, and just like looking around. Obviously his gaze should be able to pick up that there's this massive fucking battle going on around him, and it's not. He's not reacting that way. You see a demon get hurled through the air by one of these tiger things, even slams into the dude. He gets knocked back, bangs his head against a tree, pulls his hand out, feels his head, gets wobbly. There's blood on his hand, and yet does not seem to show any recollection of anything that could have possibly have caused that, completely denying the effect. And then as Renault continues to adjust, you go through every 24-hour period, and you can see people fighting with sticks, invisible things, and then the very next day, not even acknowledging that those things are there anymore.
Don't you see these people in Ludgrave, the ones that everybody think are loony? They're not. They're remembering. They're almost still trapped in the motions of this war from 150 years ago. To them, it's been moments, or some of them are more than likely still there. We seem to be lapsing in and out of this time warp.
Like the ones at the hospital.
Like the ones
When I looked through the planchette.
right, like some of the denizens here of Ludgrave Park.
Would that explain how you two keep saying that Casper and I are not recalling recent events correctly? Is there something?
Assuming something very similar. That dude, they did some kind of lavish motion. There was this beam, kind of similar, Renault, to like what you did in the.
Yes. I have to keep it away from you just for that reason.
And then all of a sudden, it was now. Like now, like Fallendrift now, as we know it.
One more piece of information, Shahid, that you get as you hold it up. Before you saw a whole bunch of people dead going on, the usual thing. You continue to see that every time you look in the mirror. The vision is altered a little bit when the planchette is there. But as as the planchette gets taken away and as you're gesticulating and what have you, hey, thank you so much for the follow. Zenventus has just followed. Whoever gets whoever gets the next roll is going to be is going to have advantage on that roll. When you go to take a look again, you see someone who has been consistent all throughout all your many visions and in the background. And he's been walking towards you for like the past 200 feet or so. He's off on your left if you happen to be no, because you've turned around to everyone. He's approaching from the north, heading south towards your group at a leisurely pace. And you could see him. You look at him real quick, and you just see a person. You look at again, and everyone else around him is dead. He's not dead. He's very much fucking alive. And it's an old dude wearing a top hat coming at you with a cane.
Bitch.
Is he real life? Like, I'm gonna look and see.
Yeah,
like,
you look, yeah,
okay.
and you see him. He's like slowly approaching. He's like 75 feet away.
Where have you been?
What? One more, and he tries to like bustle along a little bit faster. He's having some
problems. Do we know this
problems.
person?
Oh no, I'll come to you and I'm just gonna fucking go.
He comes over, or rather, you separate from the party. What are the rest of you doing?
Going to follow because that's
absolutely.
I'm still dealing with the fact that we found out that we each have a thing in our possession that interacts with one another, and I'm still on that.
Okay, yeah, I would expect so. I would absolutely expect so. Alrighty, you guys are moving forward. You come up. If you're putting all other things down, the reality of the world around you is there. Dogs are barking, bells are tolling somewhere in the distance, and you begin to approach. Mr. Otto is looking at you, and I'm so very happy that I'm able to find you.
Oh, you're happy that you're able to find us. Let me tell you, we have been looking for you for ages. We've been in a hospital where there was a creature made of people, and we found Ethan Long. He's dead. And there are the ghosts happening here, clawed creatures happening here, fireballs happening here, fires happening here. We've been looking everywhere for a place to call upon the Intelligirium, and you have been no help whatsoever.
I'm terribly sorry that you think that. He looks beyond Ophelia and looks over at Casper. How far away is Casper?
I think I followed after like a couple seconds of Ophelia running that way. So,
Constable, how are you feeling since your time in the Rips?
Well, yeah, a lot better than I was.
I am glad I was able to assist you that day.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. I saw you after whatever that thunder was knocked me into the alley.
Well, we have been looking everywhere for all of you.
Renault starts analyzing this man being very intrusive. This is like, let me look at you. What's this guy about?
Or are you doing it in any particular fashion, or just like looking at him?
I'm gonna be checking to see if he has any working skills or any skincare or anything that seems out of the times. Like I'm really investigating this guy. It's like, what are you about?
Give me an insight check, man.
On it.
That's awesome. Submitters, thank you for the 100 biddies.
I got a 17.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so 17. You can see he seems very eager to talk and to describe stuff, but apparently he needs to be held accountable for some stuff. He looks rather. I mean, you mentioned skincare. He's old. His skin has definitely lost some of its elasticity, but everything is holding together extremely well. His skin looks more like mine for like a 90-year-old. I mean, he doesn't have the chunky hands I do, but he's got it's looks like an old dude. Who's
good.
Yeah, he's been lotioning up.
Yeah.
And he still has that brightness of life and is very much in his eyes.
Okay. Curious. Have you seen anything strange in the past couple of years?
Oh, well, I would say that we all have in this area.
All right, I was making sure that was the same thing. Yes.
I'm terribly sorry. I understand that you
Mr. Otto, how long has it been to you since you've seen us last?
It's been 4 days.
It's been 3 days.
Inconsistencies.
It's
Memory issues.
It's 2 days of work.
Our friends here, and I gesture over to Casper and Ophelia, seem to have lapsed a day while standing right beside us. Just several weeks ago.
We all talked at the fountain, and then everybody went off to the asylum, and I went back to meet my compatriots. That was 4 days ago. Now, granted, that was late in the evening of day 4 from hence, but 3 days since the daytime, perhaps. I'm terribly sorry, but I must ask, where is Mr. Grongnir?
He disappeared in black smoke in the asylum, to me at least.
And according to the constables who we have spoken to not too long ago, apparently he is now deceased.
Perished, yes.
And found at this very location.
You mean
That's why we're here.
indicating that you pointed at the fountain? You mean there at the fountain?
Yes.
Sure. But looking at this cobblestone, there's no blood, there's no markings, there's no signs of distress anywhere. We're just taking the words of these constables who, frankly, 2 of them were attempting to hide a calling card.
I'm sorry? Hide a calling card? Of what kind?
Oh yes, the thing. Who grabbed that? I think that was you, Constable. Did you? Oh, check your pockets. You had a little thing. Do you recall grabbing that?
I mean, it's. Yeah.
Yeah, you see, you don't recall, but you did grab something in your time in which you lapsed in memory. Therefore, that kind of proves the entire temporal distortion that you were privy to. Therefore, there you are. I didn't slip that in your pocket. I probably would be a great pickpocket, but...
I'm terribly sorry. I'm a little bit confused. What a calling card for what purpose?
There was a calling card that was found on the ground that was attempted to be hidden by the 2 of the constables. Why is yet to be determined. However, it has the name of the proprietor of the museum in which I work. And on the back, there's a message that tells us to keep our secrets to ourselves.
You see what little color he has in his face drain ever so slightly. He straightens up a little bit. Would that name on the
quote unquote, happened to be one you and Mycroft.
That's the one. The proprietor of the Mycroft Museum, of course.
We are not timely. It is late.
Oh, no. I would rather say that you were all very untimely, but I would also say that the four of you coming together, including you, Mr. Constable, are all rather going to become heroes by the end of this. You've managed to solve a mystery of something that we have only been dreaming of. I believe it's time. First, if I may ask, have you found your murderer?
You see,
No.
that seems to be a very strange question because I'm still breathing, but no.
But it is supposedly was said that Grungnir was stabbed by this crystalline dagger, one that once punctured with there's some form of necrotic damage.
The one
Necrosis.
that had been stolen from the museum.
Precisely the one, sir.
Constable, how much information do you have about this dagger?
Not a ton. I gotta get back to work on that case, but...
I fear to report then that your constabulary up north is not going to provide you with much more information.
I have further information based off of that.
Yes?
Constable, you should choose a different title. Because you are no longer a constable.
Oh.
Sorry?
I wasn't the one who fired you. What was the name? You had missed the days and then lost your job, and then, you forgot. That is... All right, I'm going to not be bearing bad news. I'm going to walk over here.
Mr. Renault, please,
Yes.
Do not tread too far. We have many questions, but I fear that you have an incredible more number of answers.
Yes.
I believe it's time. If you can and are so wishing, please follow me. And he begins walking off in the towards the east, out of the park. You guys following?
Yes. I'm just marching right behind.
You walk out of Ludgray Park. Oh boy, hold on. Let me get some good stuff in here. Okay. You start walking out of Ludgray Park and you start going through the various districts. Oh dear God. Hold on. What the hell just happened here? There we go. You're walking through the various districts, and Constable, you recognize you guys are heading right towards the fucking Rips.
Right. Put away your coin purses, tuck them well inside your clothes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's bad in here. As he walks through, he stops stops over, and you see urchins out on the streets, so many of them asking for coin. He gives them a copper here and there, and you see them tip their cap, and then they start walking alongside you guys. And you see them even just holding onto their suspenders, very threadbare and barely holding their pants up, bare feet and all of them escorting you through. He's giving a coin here and a coin here and a coin here, and then you see some dustmen and some dustwomen. They're also you see these people who have been cleaning up the muck of the streets. They begin pushing their wagons down in this area as well, and it's almost like a goddamn parade. You guys are completely surrounded by all the folk of this area, and you hear him say under his breath, but loud enough for everyone to hear, "Turn left in 3, 2, 1, now." And as you do, you enter into a door. That was awesome. You enter into a doorway, and you weave through some people who continue to walk forward and go past. The entire thing was able to be done where no one was able to detect where you were or anything like that. You come into an old ramshackle building. There is still rain it's not even raining outside, and the damn roof is still leaking. You're walking through, you see an old closet here that has been complete, threadbare clothing is not even the word for it. More like rotting heaps of cloth just fallen in the corner. This used to be a fairly nice area, but now you're in a home that anywhere else in the Rifts might hold about 15, 20 people per room. And they are lucky to have a covering over their head. There is moldy food everywhere. The stench in this place is horrible. A combination of feces and urine and rotting food. You swear more than enough things have also died in here just due to the smell alone. He comes over to one door that is incredibly stuck. He tries the knob, and it's not budging at all. The entire frame of the building is completely askew and has jammed the door in. And oh, yes, I'm so sorry. He pushes the knob in and reaches for the other side where the hinges are. He digs his fingers in ever so gingerly and just goes, and you see the door in the upper portion that used to be jammed, that and the part of the wall that was causing it to be jammed break away to show a very large door, and the entire thing is just a facade. You start walking down some stairs, and as you do, you can smell ozone in the air, and you begin hearing a zik, 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 zik. And as you come down the stairs, there is an open metal door, and in front of that door, you see a gentleman, top hat. Good day, sir. Nice to meet you, sir. These people with you, sir. Yes, absolutely, Zafar. Thank you so much. And
Where's your power source?
Yeah, what was that?
Where's your power source? I heard it on the way down.
We'll get to that. You
yeah,
come
yeah.
into a room that is... it has a wooden floor, beautiful parquet. You see a small shelf of books, like a small shelf of books. Every now and then someone references it. You see humans, you see dwarves, you see halflings, you see elves, you see everyone that you can ever possibly imagine, all of them dressed to the nines. And so many, the undeterminate species, genders, and colors of beings all throughout this massive facility. And as you go from room to room, you see these Tesla coils, all of them seemingly zik, 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 and one person touching it and trying to like cast a lightning bolt by doing that, and it just utterly fails. You see experiments of all kinds going on until finally you come into an area that seems to just explode with air. The whole area is huge. A massive underground library. Gears against the walls and within, all of them spinning slowly, causing giant stairways to move the people on them from shelf to shelf 50 feet in the air. In the middle of all of this, a rotunda of sorts, an information desk, if you will. And in there, a very large humanoid with a giant elephant's head turns around.
Well, Otto, it's about time you brought them here.
I'm so sorry I've been late. If I may introduce, this is Dr. Noreous. He is the head of the agency known as the Intelligarium.
And you say?
These, if I may, Doctor, these are the new Untimely heroes.
Dr. Noreous looks at you, his trunk come down, a nice little bow on each of his tusks.
Oh my god.
With a matching bow tie. You see him wearing a very large gray suit, dark in color, a brocade pattern on a beautifully adorned vest. And on that, a chained watch. He picks up the pocket watch, looks at it, disconnects it from the buttonhole on his vest, and lays it down on the counter in front. And to each of you, asks you to come forward.
You are very much on time.
And he taps the watch, not displaying any time that you guys have ever seen. Just as the four of you come up to the counter, you can see the minute hand click on the 13th hour of the watch.
Welcome to the Intelligarium.
Begins looking around, and you can see planets on large brass rods going around a large central sun, replicating where you are. You see star patterns and constellations in a vast dome ceiling. None of this magical in what we would expect, but everything incredible and fantastical. You see a fairy flitting for the very first time, carrying a book easily twice their size, going from one bookshelf to the other. You see creatures working on things that you have never imagined.
I would think that, this is fascinating.
That is, for you, the understatement of the century. I've never seen an elephant before. No offense.
I am not an elephant, but we can let that pass.
Okay. I've never seen an elephant before.
I don't think.
Or
all right.
what is that? A fairy? I've read about them in a children's story.
Yes, that's very weird. However, these is all representations of the current constellation around this plane. I'm actually very familiar. This specifically is a primitive form of a star map. If you're at all familiar with, we do these in astral navigations when traveling to make our proper the asteroid mining and the like, and it can show that we have sustenance on our ship. But the fairy tale creature, that's new.
Exactly. That's underneath Fallendrift. Are you all here all the time? You're not above the ground at all, because I've never seen anyone like you in any district I've been in.
No, this is very true. Under no circumstances have I ever walked the surface of Fallendrift for any. It's been about 70 years since I've seen the surface. You are very astute, and and he references a piece of paper along his side, Mr. Renault.
Yes, that is me.
I believe what you might be accustomed to seeing might look small like this.
And he reaches down and he pulls a lever, and you can see the domed ceiling beginning to move, when you also recognize that each of those are on their own plate, and it's all on several pieces of glass that are all going around, until finally you recognize a constellation that comes from your time.
Yes. This brings back memories. I used to tell my daughter when she was but a year how this belt right there, look, this belt right here, I remember kissing her mother the very first day when we looped around this last constellation. Very nice. She couldn't understand me, but it was still I'm sorry.
No. There is never a reason to apologize for memories of one's past. And I am terribly sorry that you have been misplaced from your family. Maybe, in time, we will be able to return you back home. But we have a great many mysteries ahead of us. And if what Arthur here has said is true, then perhaps you four are the ones to do it. Do you know why you are here ultimately together?
No idea whatsoever.
No.
All three people breaking into the asylum.
Well, drawn together, not by fate or any of that trope. No, that is for others. You are all dead.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
I'm sorry. It almost sounded like you said we were dead.
You each died at some point in recent history. And for some reason, you continue to live. You exist outside of the lines of fate, drawn together by that pull of life. That very thing. It's the one thing that Mr. Ethan Long was able to detect, pulling you all together in one way or another. Whether it was a mighty building in the sky that was about to explode, or it was a demon rising up in an old acquaintance by the name of Malave, who was about to consume everyone around. But the first person it consumed was Miss Moore. Except she didn't die. When Casper, you, the constable, had gone around on your rounds looking, so much of life was always around you, and you were raised in the Rips and died in the Rips recently. That is when we recognized who you were, one of these three. And as for you, Mr. al-Zafar, you come from a place quite far away. You traveled a very long time. You should be resting with your family.
I wish I was.
I have news. For some reason, the reasons that we cannot understand, you are all very much alive, but should be dead. And our job is to try to find your murderer. Ethan Long is a victim of that same murderer. And that murderer is using a dagger, but didn't always. We are very concerned. And Mr. Otto here,
and he shows Otto Varick, who's been standing on the side, his hat underneath his arm, and him leaning on the cane.
Mr. Otto Varick knows quite a bit about death.
Otto just kind of bypasses him, or dismisses him with a wave.
Is Otto dead as well?
No. Otto, Mr. Varick, would you care to explain?
Varick comes forward.
It would appear that I cannot die.
But this is not because of some magical effect or a rejuvenative potion or something along those lines that some snake oil salesman has sold me. My job has always been that of investigation of the mysteries of life and death. And there was a period of time when the gods of yore used to be around, and I was a priest of one of them, one by the name of Ophelia, a deity of natural processes. And I had elevated my way up through the ranks of that priesthood, and became what was known as the Anshesa. The Anshesa were the priests, the undying priests, who carried out death's will. Those profane people who would commit murders against the will of nature violated the code of life. We simply brought death to them. And for every death that we brought to them, we were always around, allowed to live for another year or so, as we continued out Fea's will. I've killed thousands in the name of death, and so I am still here.
Fascinating. How much do you know about temporal anomalies?
That is not my forte. I know nothing of that. Or is?
I could go at length if you would like. Actually, I will start taking notes. Perhaps we can give you some information that I've acquired over the recent years of me being here, in comparison to the primary engineering bits that I've come to know in my time living, in my time at least. I'm still curious as to how exactly my murderer could have traversed the.
You feel a trunk come down on your shoulder just for a second.
I understand you have a tremendous amount of questions and so many lessons that you can teach us. And believe me, Mr. Renault, everything you know, we would love to learn from you. Of course, you would be paid for your time.
Oh, all right.
Mr. al-Zafar, you have an education as well, do you not?
I do.
One of history and antiquities.
That's my specialty, yes.
And you currently work at the Mycroft Museum?
Yes. I was an archaeologist for many years and have an office in the museum itself. You're absolutely correct.
I am very curious as to the whereabouts of the dagger around these parts. That thing is created from something that should not be anymore. And I fear that it is tied to the asylum. Would you mind telling me what you have found with regards to the dagger and the things in the asylum?
I hate to interrupt your Shahid, but does anybody else hear that? There is an incessant but familiar beeping. Do you?
I'm so sorry. One moment. Renault, please.
And you see a small figure who has been working on a large glass pillar. He like pops up, and you see goggles that are about the width of his head popping out, and he's got like a spanner or a wrench in one hand, and he's like trying to fix it. Yeah, sorry about that, boss. And goes back down.
Oh, he's my favorite.
Love.
I'm going over there.
I just wanted. Very well.
Yeah, you got he fucking yeets himself out.
I got my head out.
He's my favorite.
Excuse me, ma'am, the dagger. Very well. Mr. al-Zafar, the dagger in the asylum.
Yes, years back when I first started working with my compatriot Grungnir, he was explaining to me how at some point in time he was mining these, I believe he described them as crystals, and I made some kind of correlation between the two. He was saying something about how it had some psychedelic effects once inhaled. But as far as these murders are concerned, this dagger impales the physical flesh and causes necrotic damage.
It is something more stealing life, you think?
Yes, I do. And it seems as if then it entraps their souls in, I believe we came to the conclusion of the asylum. More specifically, it was this amalgamation of meat and tissue. It was like an abomination, if you would.
Interesting.
And it was around a necrotic, this creature was in a room with a necrotic circle inscribed on the ground.
Would you three like to see what we have discovered so far, which is truly not much more than what you have? We are dependent upon agents on the surface to carry out our missions, if you will.
So we don't have to stay here forever, like how you said 70 years. We can go back.
That is certainly not something you ever need to do. That is by choice on my part.
You three can give me an insight check.
Boop, boop, boop. I can't. Can you roll it for me?
Yeah, sure. Not a problem. Oh, is Foundry still not happening for you?
I'm afraid to pull it back up because it really almost shut down my whole computer.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to figure that out. All righty. Insight check. And
What I get? Don't let me down, babe.
did you see that? Yeah. So that was a 6. Who's going to use
Thanks
an
so
urchin?
much.
I have the highest insight out of us 3. I
You,
have a plus 4 to
you
it.
have 12. Yeah, dude.
I have a 13.
Okay, hold on. Casper, you want to add what to it?
I was going to use the urchin.
Oh, you're going to use one of the Okay, go ahead and roll. And Shahid, you got oh, that's cool, dude. So you just got 21.
Yeah.
All right, so there's your 21 for Casper.
Nice.
Shahid, you got a 13.
I did.
Okay. And Ophelia, you have a 6.
I'm just gonna bank on somebody telling me.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah, Casper, do your thing.
As Noreous is describing that he hasn't walked the surface in 70 years, you pick up it's your gut instinct. He's holding on to a story that is as old as time. Isn't that from like Beauty and the Beast? Did I just pull out?
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry
but you
about that.
also put the name of the show in today's episode, so
Yeah, I did. Drop that.
Yeah, you're okay.
Okay, good.
I don't think you can get cheesier than that.
I mean, it fucking works for me. Casper, you recognize, he's got a story going on there, and there is a lot of woe and loss from something from like 70 years ago, he said. So, yeah, you're definitely picking
What
up
happened?
on that.
What happened 70 years ago? Presumably, you were up and about before that. Yeah.
I had come to Fallendrift to seek fortune, like so many others. Start up a new business. I was a tailor. My family and I had decided to come to a walled city, and Fallendrift suited our purpose. Walled city because we had believed that attacks would keep us safe. The walls would keep us safe from attacks.
He seems to be drifting off in thought.
There was
Let us just say, and Mr. Otto places his hand on Noreous' shoulder. He was the last of his kind.
All right. Yeah. Sorry for asking.
No. We are all here to ask questions and to learn. Yes. If you would like to all come with me, please.
And with some distraction, he turns and puts his hand on a book that seems to be fairly old. Puts his hand on a book, which is also closed, on the counter, and just lets it drift off and kind of tenderly touching the surface, the binded surface of it, or the bound surface of it. And he comes out from behind the counter and continues walking out the other end of this great atrium. You guys following?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Does he have elephant hands?
Don't go without me.
Oh, he does. Yeah, they're big, pachyderm-like hands.
Oh,
but
okay.
I know pachyderms have stumps, but no,
He's gonna be a tailor.
Yeah,
Does he have a tail?
he's got a little thing hanging out there.
Okay,
a little wispy
I
tail.
asked about a tail, not.
He's got a little wispy
little thing.
tail.
All right.
He's got
Okay.
he's got an elephant tail. It's hanging out. It's
I wish him luck in his tailor endeavors because I don't see how that's helpful. But yes, I'll follow.
He's wearing a fucking suit that looks better than anything else here.
I want to know who made it for him. But
Waffle's Erin, stop checking out my boyfriend.
no, I'm sorry. I forgot that you called dibs on him. I got the little goblin artificer. So
Excuse me, I acted first on that.
that's true. You did. Damn it. Okay, dibs on fairy. I got it. All right, we're good.
See, guys, as we're following the doctor up,
Yeah, dude.
and they're putting their fingers through the spines, Shahid's glancing over and he's just mouthing "Sands of Time, Sands of Time, Sands of Time," trying to see if his book is on the shelves in the Intelligarium.
Scented.
Ooh.
Sands of Time.
Yes. Give me. Oh fuck. Give me a perception check or investigation, whichever is better for you. That's awesome.
21.
You see, there is a large, you see essentially like the beginning of a library that kind of like wraps around a corner and down a hallway that you guys are not going into. And you see right there 5 copies of it.
And he just looks, did you see it? As he's walking up the steps following him. It's my book. That's my book. It's here.
Do you want it? Do you want it back?
No.
He has 5 of your books, like from your personal
Hey,
collection.
the library has 5 of my. I'll tell you all about it.
Okay. While we're following, can I sneak the planchette to see what's going on? If there's anything weird happening in there?
Yeah, sure. You do, and it's for the first time things look normal in this place.
Oh, I hate this. Just so you all know, the reality of our world is normal. Nothing is happening through the planchette. Everything is fine. We are going to follow the elephant now.
Otto
I
is.
detect some crassness in you, Miss Ophelia.
We were just told, I don't know if you know this, but we were just told that we died, but we didn't die.
Yes.
My partner consumed me. I do not remember that. That is what he said. I was consumed by my associate, but I didn't die. And you all died, but
yes,
are not dead.
Correct.
And there is an elephant and a fairy and other creatures.
You're experiencing condensed trauma. I looked into the dying heart of a star. I understand.
That's a fucking quote.
I absolutely would love to go home, whatever that may look like. But we're following an elephant.
I wouldn't use your
fine.
planchettes when you got home, though.
Why?
No reason. And I'm gonna follow the elephant.
He's walking, and you see him hold up a meaty hand, just as you go to follow. Oxydon, if you don't mind. And he continues moving on. By the way, he stops for a second and touches a panel on the on a wall. It seems to be a polished, kind of like a brushed nickel type of plating. It's just a very large button inside of an equally metal frame. Just simply presses it, and there's a and a door opens up, and you can see giant gears are like pulling this thing back, and there's like a like an engine with steam and other things like that pulled the door back. Oh yeah, it's total fucking steampunk. You guys are now coming into an area that seems, or the door opens to reveal a very large mechanical area, and there is a walkway, a catwalk, if you will, of just metal grid. And it goes down by about 50 feet or so, down to a whole bunch of workers who are working on pistons and all sorts of shit. Before he goes through, well, that is the mystery, is it not, Miss Moore? You did die, but you did not. He turns and he starts walking down, the metal creaking under his weight.
I'm just going to turn. I assume I'm behind him. I'm going to turn to the others and just be like... And then just keep going.
And you see, and Otto is right behind the four of you, just like about 10 feet behind us. This is, yes, welcome to the Untitled Chapter.
Wait, Otto, hi, Casper. But you were priest of the sort of natural passage of things.
Yes.
Us four doesn't upset you at all, does it? No hard feelings?
The what?
That we died but didn't die?
Well, no. No.
There's a... He stops for a second, and Noreous continues going down the way. He stops, and it's like you see him entering into a state of contemplation. There's people seem to think that the gods of old are dead. No, the gods of old are mere reflections of action, that which another god created. And actions continue. People continue to murder, and therefore deity of murder is still around. I do what my god tells me to do. Everyone else thinks that I am insane for having believed in something like that. Delusional is more that I hear than anything. And yet no one really questions why all the wealthy in Hightown or in the Hive are plagued with something. No one really questions why all the poor and downtrodden are scarred and supposedly crazed. No one questions these things. There is a mystery here that has yet to unfold completely, and until it does, well, I suppose that we will all have answers, or rather questions. And one of them is, what the hell does that mean, that you died and not died? How can I possibly be bothered by the unknown? By the way, we're falling behind.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
He continues over. Noreous is continue plodding on down the catwalk, holding on to the side. He finally comes up to a door at the end of this chamber, and again, it's just... It's like massive copper barrels of... It's everything that you ever pictured about steampunk. Finally gets to the other door, and this one is a brass door with a circular window in it. A full rivets and everything like that, and the frame itself is this beautiful archway of intricate, detailed brass as well, and some copper. He comes in... comes over to the door and is about to pull a lever to open the door and said,
Now I must inform you. This is going to be disturbing to some of you. We are going to see those who have suffered the hands of those on the surface. We bring them here to assist, and they can leave at any time. Please understand that.
And he opens up the door, and beyond is a dark passage. As you move down the passage, you can see that there are motes of light. You appear to continue on that catwalk. You're now in a different chamber, light from the prior room pouring in. You don't see much of a floor underneath the catwalk, and instead you see blackness all around. And yet there seems to be an ambient light in the area, but yet you see no walls or floor or ceiling. There is no real air current. In fact, the stillness of the air would suggest that this is most likely an enclosed space.
Yeah, look.
And as he points with his hand, you can see that there's a small dancing mote of light about 6 feet away. It appears to have the same lit intensity of that of a lightning bug, but always on. And the color itself is more like a whitish blue.
That is a soul that we managed to retrieve from a body that had been stabbed by the dagger. Come forward.
And you can see many of them floating about.
Now, they can go however they wish.
In fact, they can proceed through the Veld Gate whenever they want. They have chosen to stay here, and sometimes I am able to communicate with them. And Mr. Shahid, I believe your mirror may come in very handy right now.
Shahid takes the shard out and
you can see the full... You see a full person as they used to be as you take a look at the soul. And you see one slowly waving at you before turning and flying away.
wow.
Memory is contained in motes of energy. Our bodies are the most limiting thing ever created, a mere container for all of eternity. Amazing, is it not? Come, I have more to show you.
He goes down the way.
What you are about to see is the most disturbing of all.
Opening up that door, this one, a plain wooden door, no window, a wrought iron latch, opens it up, swings open, and you come into what appears to be more of a stone hallway that goes even further down. The air's getting a little bit thick and soupy. You're underground quite some distance. There doesn't seem to be too much in terms of air current moving. Maybe that's what they were fixing in the other room. But as you come down here, the hallway continues. It's about 10 feet wide and maybe 9 feet tall. It's actually rather claustrophobic considering, but it ends in a door.
Here, this is where the sick are before they become that.
And he points to the former room. And he opens it, and you hear some coughs from beyond. You come in, and you see people who are alive that look very much like the body you saw, Casper. Most of them completely taken over by that necrotic state. Some propped up in bed reading, looking more like rot has claimed so much of their body, and yet they sit there and read and they look up. You can see a wince of pain in their eyes as muscles that have become stiff. They're just waiting for their time. But they don't seem to be in horrific pain. Their bodies are slowly decaying.
Can I?
Please.
I want to take the cube I have and bring it near one of them.
Mr.
If I could.
Otto looks at Noreous. I don't see any reason why not.
Very well.
And Noreous kind of crosses his hands in front of his chest and takes a step back and to see what would happen.
Yeah. I take the cube out of my pocket.
Okay.
Fully expecting to be zapped again.
Yeah, well, I mean, that tracks.
And then just bring it to like the nearest person and just hold it close to them.
You can see the person look at you and at first retracts their arm.
I'm just trying to help. Yeah.
It's all right, Thaddeus. He is only trying to help. They are with us.
And Thaddeus nods and looks over at you. And he holds his hand out. You bring the cube close, and at first there is no effect. And as you bring it closer, you can see some of the necrotic tissue somewhat rising towards the cube as if it were like magnetic. And as you bring the cube closer, you can see some of that necrotic tissue kind of gain some elasticity and come back. But the surrounding tissue is not supplying it with any blood. So it's not... You can see the tissue itself is healed, but it needs a lot more than that. And when you take the cube away, you can see some of the necrosis creeping in again.
Perhaps there needs to be some form of a container to retain the necrotic ichor once withdrawn.
Either that or we need to make this thing a lot better at what it does, but
Larger.
I'll be honest, I'm afraid to put it near Renault's cube.
Oh, I don't think that's a good idea. There's a lot of potentially fragile things in case this has variables that could cause a great deal of destruction.
I'm very curious of what this cube is that you have, if I may, Mr. Renault.
We call it a power core if you wish to analyze it.
No, not here.
Oh, all right.
The hall itself might be something that we would consider a long barracks. bed after bed after bed after bed. There have to be at least 150, possibly 180 people in this place. All of them in various states of peace or repose. Some just recently there. You see some wounds and what have you. About halfway through, however, you see a screened off one. And as you pass by it, Aureus doesn't bring any attention to it. You can see in a break of them a head connected to a body, but another one next to it, and an arm sticking out as well. The necrosis affecting it as well. It is an abomination, akin to the ones that you had seen in the asylum.
Did you retain this one from the asylum?
Aureus stops, and you feel the ground beginning to move as he thump, thump, thump comes over. We allow our patients privacy when they've requested. And he shuts it.
Can I like roll an insight on that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, by all means. Go ahead.
Meaning you. Just don't let me down or else.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can't roll anything.
Yeah, not a problem. That's a 2 plus 1.
Are you serious?
3.
Are you serious?
It's a 2.
I thought you loved me.
It's not me. It's Foundry.
Can
Okay.
Shahid roll one as well? Because he definitely felt that energy.
Go ahead, dude. Yeah, anybody can roll. That's not a problem.
Oh, no, don't worry. I rolled just as good.
He got a 4.
My turn to roll a 2.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I rolled a 1 actually.
What the fuck?
For a total of 5. Okay.
D&D's fun.
Renault, what about you, buddy?
I tell stories, kids.
Nope, not doing that.
Yeah,
God damn
it's-
it. All right, I guess. Here we go. I got a 13.
Yeah, I mean, you're picking up that he's reacting to what he said, and he seems very prideful on the privacy aspect of that and honoring that request from his patient. But there definitely seems to be a little bit more to it. I mean, he himself haven't seen the surface, according to him, in 70 years. Very private as well. So maybe that's something that he can, maybe there's like a personal feeling there.
Is there a lock on that door?
No, it was just a sheets and an operatory.
Okay.
Like
I'm gonna-
a curtains.
I'm going to make a note of the location of this one because I'm not very thrilled with how they killed the other one.
Sure.
So I'm not going to forget where this one is.
Okay. And Otto, notices the skepticism, and it goes over to Ophelia and, very, very gently, puts a hand on, tentatively at first, put a hand on her shoulder and taps, and, he's nodding. He understands, and, he's like, we've got more to see.
Okay, of course.
We will discuss that one in a moment.
All right.
If you guys continue. Aureus, now, visibly disturbed by that. Trying to regain himself, he opens up a door and goes in. It's a hallway. It tees off. Not too complex. It's not labyrinthine or anything. And goes into what is an office. It seems to be a generic office. It's 15 by 15 or so. It's not massive. And he invites you all to sit down just for a moment. In here, you can see that there are 6 chairs. He's very obviously accustomed to holding meetings, or this place is meant to have that.
Pops right down.
So, I wanted to show you something that hopefully will be of some use to you. And yet I have not yet figured out how or what.
And he reaches down and he pulls out a lithograph of what appears to be an actual photo, silver paper and what have you. And you see a man in the photo with some disheveled hair, completely unkempt. You see more than a 5 o'clock shadow. He looks frightened, and his eyes are wide open.
Have you seen this man before?
What? I'm sorry, what is it? What's the picture of?
It's a picture of a man with unkempt hair, more than a 5 o'clock shadow, and a very frightened look. I'll even add in with a 1,000-yard gaze to it.
Does he look familiar?
No one here has seen him.
No.
Well, I was hoping that you might be able to.
He passes the photo. He slides it across the desk to you for Otto, looking at it as well.
Otto, if you do not mind.
Otto looks at it.
We do not know exactly who this man is, but we believe that he is a person of interest. This photo comes to us from someone who had escaped a particular, shall we say, trafficking ring that is taking place here within Fallendrift. This person seems to be a person of consequence. Unfortunately, the deliverer, the messenger of it, had died before we were able to understand exactly who this individual was. But the messenger themselves come from a humanoid trafficking ring that does take place here in Fallendrift. And we are unsure who exactly runs this.
Casper, this is the first time you are hearing anything about slaves or humanoid trafficking or anything.
If something like that's going on, it's either a very well-kept secret or somebody sweeping it under the rug.
Like the police, perhaps.
Given what Renault said about the constables at the fountain hiding evidence earlier, I'm thinking that they might be involved in some less than above-board activities.
And whereabout do you all surmise that this trafficking is occurring? Or do you not at all?
No, that is just it. We are not sure. But we have managed to trace some people in and around certain areas. There are chemicals and drugs which are peddled out there on the streets, namely above us in the rips, as well as in the rest of Fallendrift. We believe that the people who are peddling this are operating on a level which most people cannot see.
In fact, most people cannot see it because they are incapable. Not because they don't have eyes or because they are particularly stealthy people, but because they are invisible or in disguise. Disguised as to look like one of us. Casper, do you remember anything about that?
I saw the guy with the backwards hand at the bar that was trying to look human. I think I might
I'm sorry, the
have
what?
run in with one.
This is the first time you mentioned it. The what now?
There was it was before I met you all. I finished my shift, been having a rough day, seeing things as I'm now realizing were real. And I went to have a drink and kind of keep an eye on things. And at first I thought it was nothing. I thought it was my mind playing tricks on me. But I saw a man put his hand on the bar and grab his drink the wrong way.
Good lord.
So that I'm assuming the same man later in the rips after my auntie died. Lost track of him when the only way I can see him getting out is he leapt clear from the street to the roofs.
And this was a man in the face and backwards hand.
Didn't see his face.
So
Close.
perhaps he's in this trafficking circle, you think?
He didn't seem too keen on talking to a constable.
This is the kind of thing that we have all seen. Some of us have noticed that there are people out there who do not look anything like us. And certainly the Intelligarium, we have our own share of that here. However, there are people walking around Fallendrift who are simply not what they are, what they appear to be, passing off as a mundane human or elf or dwarf or what have you. They are most intelligent. And what I fear is that their leader is even more intelligent. They are running something in Fallendrift that we are not exactly aware of. And we think it has something to do with the dagger and this person.
Well, that particularly odd people. Shahid, didn't you say that there was that little girl with the mouth hanging open?
Yeah, back in the fountain. I almost like chalked her up originally to like that ash hounds, but yeah, there was that child who I approached and her mouth opened up into 4 sections. She leaped at me.
Both Noreous and Otto are looking at you like, what? Where did you see this?
Yeah, at the fountain.
Was it at the fountain or near the fountain?
Yeah, well, near the fountain in Ludgrave. By where I saw the images in the mirror. Would these happen to be like describing like these demon entities from some war like 150 or some odd years ago from some Method? And
Shall.
yes, Method Kadisha.
Mean anything?
Noreous plants his elbows on the desk and steeples his fingers. Method Kadisha. That is a name I've not heard in quite some time. Is a Rakshasa. Do you know this creature?
A what now?
A Rakshasa. It's a...
No.
It's a demon that inhabits the body, a shape-changing demon that inhabits the body, usually of an animal-headed humanoid of some kind. Part of the perversion of their being is the unnatural way in which their hands work. Their palms are on the backs of their hands, and their fingers...
Could they look like tigers?
Exactly. They can be tigers, yes.
I had a vision of my wife, and her face turned to one of these creatures.
If you don't mind my asking, what your wife had seen one of these?
No, I'm sorry. I was thinking out loud. I, on occasions, have these episodes where I start replaying thoughts of my wife and daughter, and during one of said episodes, an image of my wife when I was sleeping, she came over my shoulder, but her head was that of a tiger.
I am so sorry for your loss. I do not know. I have no information about that. But I can say that I believe you come from the south, do you not, Mr. al-Zafar?
I do.
So do many of the Rakshasa. They migrated north about 200 years ago, coming into Fallendrift's early history, setting up shop, as it were. We have believed that they left because they simply disappeared after some time, and much of the trade of their course, drugs mainly, murder, assassinations, began to wane. It may seem that they have been laying low in order to create the illusion, masters of that which they are, that they are no longer here, when in fact they are. It would seem, Mr. al-Zafar, that you are witnessing the predators who have assisted in doing something to your family, perhaps. I don't mean to... I'm drawing at straws as well.
I understood. Well, so yes, so they're demons, and
Well, it's more than just that. You mentioned a child. His face opened up. Would you be able to describe this more? You try to describe as best as you possibly can, and they're not drawing any conclusions. They seem concerned by it more than perhaps the ordinary person would. If you want, you can give me an insight check. Anybody?
No, I'm not gonna have you roll one for me anymore 17. For the rest of the night.
Insight 17.
Okay. Ophelia rolls a 10.
11.
Exactly. I told you not to.
Shahid got a 17. Awesome. Renault 11. Casper 15. Awesome. You guys.
You know what? I'm gonna add a +3 to that to make.
Oh, nice, dude. Okay, so you got a +3 on that. Alrighty. Currently, Ophelia, you have a +1, +2, +3. Casper, you have a +1. Renault, you have all of yours, and Shahid, you now have a +1, +2 left. They seem to have some information about demons, but this one is perplexing them.
Is this something that you're unfamiliar with? It seems as if you've had instances or occurrences with other demons, but is this child's version something different? Is she a perversion of the old? Maybe something evolutionized?
I think it is more the fact that this thing exists now as opposed to some time ago. There was a war here. There was. But whom it was between has been erased from the minds of so many. That is also a great mystery here.
If that be the case, I fear there may potentially be more, because that child was being observed by 2 adults who were leaning against the wall. When this occurred, they looked at me in a knowing fashion, and then they all 3 just seemed to meander off in a general northerly direction from the fountain.
So then there are at least 3, or at least 1 and 2 minions.
Yes.
Constable, didn't you say a name, Franz or Blue or something like that?
Fraza Blue.
Was that what you saw, what you heard?
Who were you asking that of?
The constable.
Pardon? Sorry.
I was asking what was the name that you heard. You had echoed what you'd seen.
The name I heard?
Yes, Franz or Blue, I don't recall. Really.
The only name I remember is Method Kadashaw.
Ah.
Yeah, there was Fraza Blue and Method Kadashaw. There are 2 different entities, 2 different battling entities.
Fraus Blue is the name of a demon that had existed here before Fallendrift existed, before it was built. How did you come across this name?
I'm gonna point to everybody's planchette and mirror, and that's them.
The items you have. Interesting.
Tethers, I believe. At least
it seems as if they coordinate with one another, and if I'm understanding what we had experienced back at the fountain, certain combinations allow perception through the very fabrics of time, forwards and back. And with the use of Mr. Renault's power cube, he was able to finely tune the imagery so we may get a more clear image of what it was that was happening.
I believe your friend, Mr. Renault, is an absolute genius. Mr. Renault.
Yes?
How did you refer to these items that you and yours can have now?
Tethers.
Tethers to life.
Yes. Yes.
Fetters, as it were.
I have come to a strong belief that as we have come in and they have unique properties based off of who we are, and the fact that I believe someone saw lines that connected us to something unseen has something loosely related to something that I saw when I think I died.
Ms. Moore, I believe this would be your field. Of course, have some ideas, but isn't there some form of tethering in the spiritual realm where you could be connected to here through physical items? So maybe my wife's mirror and your planchette and your cube and
Power source.
The power source, excuse me, and the constable's cubes were these tethers that are keeping us. Maybe this is to this realm. Maybe this is how we're staying on the material plane.
Oh, I didn't even consider that. When I ask for personal tokens or trinkets belonging to the deceased,
Right. You were saying
usually it's for that reason. Perhaps it makes the bond with the spirit stronger, more present. I didn't even think that. Well, I didn't think that I was dead, but not dead. I didn't think that I would be connected to my planchette. It's just a tool I use. It's nothing.
How
It's
did
not
you
more or
find
less.
that planchette, if I may ask, Miss Moore?
It's my own possession. I've had it for years.
Can I have an intelligence check, please?
You can check for me.
That's right. You can bring up D&D Beyond, by the way.
I know.
Okay, hold on. All right,
I'm letting you.
You're writing this out. Okay, cool.
I'm letting you drive.
right.
I'm on, like, my whole face is a sinus. So
I'm sorry, honey. All right, so you got a 15.
okay, thank you.
You flash back to the streets of Fallendrift. It was right after, just as you were leaving your house and you were heading down towards the fountain. You were crossing the street and you saw the planchette on the ground in the middle of the street.
I remember that. Okay. No. Hold on. That's a fair point. I picked this one up in the street outside of my house. I thought I had dropped it. It felt like mine.
When you say in the street, you remember a little bit about that now. You remember it was a cart that was beginning to approach. You were crossing the street. You were deep in your thoughts about everything that had just transpired. You bent down to pick up something on the ground, and immediately you were hit by that. You picked that up, that planchette, and you continued to walk beyond while your body was still on the ground, bleeding out behind you.
I remember that I died picking this up.
You recall passing now.
I wish I didn't, but there it is, right in front of me. It's so stupid. That's such a busy street, too. So many carts and people not paying attention. And I thought I saw my planchette. I never drop that. It's always in a sack so it doesn't get lost. And I bent down to pick it up. And then I was on the other side of the street. And that's when I saw the three men, if you recall, over and over.
You were reliving something, most likely, and I'm terribly sorry for this. But we are happy that you are here today.
I'm sure you could have used the constable at that time.
I'm going to take a guess that you did not socialize much up in the stars. So I'll take that as a good faith advice and not a jab at how I wasn't paying attention and I walked out in the street like a child.
Yes.
Okay, good.
You remember your friend, Renault. You remember your friend who used to come in there while you were always within the bay, working on here and there in your workshop. You remember everything about it. You remember the clicks and the clanks of various tools that he would often work on, adjusting a piece of metal here and there, something just to...
That.
What's that?
I was telling him not to use it like that. You have to make sure it's counterclockwise on any widget that you have there. That's very forward.
You remember him bringing parts to you. You remember the telemetry. You remember everything. You even ended up constructing something there. You remember something was building up. That was a burn. Then electricity. As the engines were fired in the orbiting station, something had begun to shake, and then everything was fine. You and your friend managed to keep it. And then the warning. You remember something happening. And then something else. The entire ship began to collapse in on itself. You began to run through corridors, going from here to there, putting on finally a life support system, a suit of some kind, everything, and then a large creaking sound. Something had begun to occur. You heard other sounds. Voices. You heard something. And then...
Life systems failure.
Everything else began to fail. You remember watching your friend get sucked out and whole in the side of the ship into space. You remember things beginning to clatter around you. And you remember just as the systems began to fail all around you, you sat there in a suit and tried to navigate your way, or at least thought about navigating your way. You had a little bit of difficulty trying to put on your helmet. You remember that. And then you got up and survived. But you never looked back to find your air-starved body on the bench. You continued. And you had the cube with you the entire time. Something that had fallen off of a simulant in your old workshop. Something you grabbed and held on to this entire time.
I'm terribly sorry. Are you all right, Mr. Renault?
And entropic theory folds in my mind, as perception tends to do when you are processing great deals of information. But yes. As I said before, condensed trauma.
I see. Mr. al-Zafar.
Yes.
May I know how exactly you came to be with us?
To be honest with you, it's kind of fuzzy, because every time I attempt to think back, especially as of late. I have a block, some kind of restriction. I to be honest, I fear I put this on myself.
I understand. There is Mr. I do not have my book with me. Casper, I've heard others call you.
Yeah, that's me.
Constable? Yes, memory serves.
I mean, apparently not anymore.
I understand. What is your last name, if I may know?
Jephcots.
Mr. Jephcots, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Do you recall how you came to be with us, Mr. Jephcots?
I was just going about my day. I was investigating the break-in at the museum. I was traveling back and forth across the city. I remember stopping in the park.
Mm.
My feet were killing me. It was the old boots I got.
Do you recall visiting anyone or seeing anyone that may have suffered a grievous wound?
Yeah, I saw sort of, well, I wouldn't call him a friend, one of the folk who helped raise me from the rifts.
Right.
He had injuries all up his arms.
I see.
I went to visit my aunt. She'd been killed before I could get there.
How did she die?
She was stabbed with the dagger.
When I had learned that there was someone that you had chased. This is where Mr. Otto encountered you. Can you tell us something about that chase?
Yeah, I came into the house. I saw everyone gathered around. Figured out pretty quick what was going on.
This is your aunt you're referring to?
Yeah, my auntie. They saw this figure, hooded, cloaked, standing outside the window. Thought it might be the same fella with the backwards hand that I'd seen. So I chase after him. I call for him to stop. He doesn't. I keep running after him, and then right before he rounds a corner, I go to chase him, and there's this crash of thunder. Knocked against the wall. Seeing red, seeing stars. Seeing Mr. Otto helping me out.
Was that? Do you recall what day this was?
This would have been 4 days ago.
4 days ago. During the daytime or during the nighttime?
It was during in the evening. I think.
Takes out his almanac.
4 days ago, first of last gather. It was not going to rain or have clouds in the sky until much later in the evening. You remember hearing thunder?
Yeah.
Like this.
And you can hear in the distance some thunder. Obviously, you're underground. You can hear it. Shahid, you happen to be sitting next to Otto, and you see Otto is doing something with his hands. And in time, with his fingers, you can hear the reverberations of thunder in the distance. Is it something like that? Did I get it right?
Yeah, just louder.
Sorry, let me... He tries it again. I'm too far disconnected. I'm terribly sorry. I'm
just about right, yeah.
And one of you has the ability to manipulate thunder, do you not?
I surely can't manipulate thunder.
Sorry, I was muted. I didn't know how to unmute myself. I've done that before with my planchette, but I don't know how. I don't understand how it works, but it made some brutes' ears bleed.
Did your ears bleed, Mr. Jephcots? Terribly sorry for my interruption, Mrs. Moore.
Might be that they were. Head was kind of rattling. Like I said, I got thrown up against the wall. Something pretty awful.
You got thrown up against the wall by...
Something.
Oh, God, I didn't kill you, did I?
No. You did not. In fact, I believe one of you helped save him. There was a circle of some kind within the asylum. I received a vision of some kind as someone just threw this into my head. I do not know how it happens. Every now and then I can see something, then I am compelled to follow through with it. There was an inscription of some kind that was made down on the ground. Do any of you know of this?
Yes, the necromantic circle that was inside by the I don't know what you would call it, the abomination.
Our friend.
Yes, thank you. Our friend with the multiple heads and limbs and aunties.
You see Noreous, looking down. He's picked up a pen, dipped it into an inkwell, and starts taking notes. That is how you brought me, and the only one in Fallendrift that I am aware of that can be summoned in such a fashion. How curious. I did not know where it was. Jephcots, as soon as you remember seeing Otto standing there at the alley. Otto is like, he doesn't understand how he got there, but you do remember how you got there. You remember now the individual staring through the window, the hooded figure. You got tossed against the wall. That thunder you heard was that sound of your body hitting the wall after that guy had lifted you straight up in the alley and threw you against the wall and cracked your head against it. That sound you heard of that distant thunder, maybe a peal of lightning, was your own sound of your own cracking skull.
Yeah, I remember now.
I'm terribly sorry for that, Mr. Jephcots. I'm most curious that you are permitted to live. I'm quite intrigued myself why I would be brought into that matter. No offense, Constable, Mr. Jephcots. I have nothing against you, of course. I am not aware of... Wait. Mr. Shahid. Mr. al-Zafar, I apologize for the informalities. What can you do, sir?
Excuse me?
You, sir. You inscribed something into a circle, you say, within the asylum.
I did. I just remember reading some ancient texts, during my studies of peoples from past ages who would write particular types of inscriptions within shapes. So I was observing this, and I remember Mr. Otto saying something about potentially summoning the Imaginarium if we were to put our sigil beneath a symbol of, I believe it was an hourglass with an eye. I couldn't necessarily get the best of views on this particular circle, but I instinctually attempted to put my own sigil, that of my name, within said circle.
I remember something occurring before I appeared in an alleyway, and how exactly I got there, I am not too certain. I heard a voice. I heard this melody, discordant and different. It informed me of what I needed to do. But then something rose up from the ground. I thought at first that my eyes were playing tricks on me, that they were shadows that were dancing around at my feet. But they were tentacles of some kind. They latched onto me, and I was told to report to these alleys. So I did. Exactly as I was instructed. Do you know anything about this?
I have these visions at night during my trances when I meditate. These black ichor tentacles protruding from me at times. I don't really understand much about it. I think on this for quite some time, but I can't make heads.
I understand. Are these tentacles of a particular necrotic fashion, Mr. al-Zafar? Akin to the dagger? And what it can cause?
You're muted.
Yes, thinking on it, you would be correct.
I was brought. Was brought there by you, sir. You, Dr. Noreous, I believe we are wasting time here. I believe that you are correct. These four are...
He stands up, and as he does, he kicks the chair out inadvertently, stands up in such a fashion that the chair kind of tumbles backwards. He grabs onto it for a moment.
Please. We have something we would like to try with all of you. We believe that we can bring you back, but we are not yet at that point. Put you back in with your own time or what have you, but we are not yet at that point. We have many years of study to go. But what I believe we can do is assist you now to harness these powers of yours, these perceptions and mastery of other things. If you are willing to come with us.
We're going to complete an experiment where we put all of our items together?
No.
Oh,
No.
All right. That probably would be catastrophic.
Especially here underground.
Right. No, it is not that. It is you putting all of you together of sorts. You each come from a different place or a different time or a different time. Your bodies were destroyed at some point, and yet you continue to live. We believe that you live outside of our own current time, walking alongside it, sharing within it, but can do things that most people these days simply cannot. These would be more akin to the things that I and mine used to be able to do from ages ago. What the good doctor here is trying to say is we would awaken that inherent power that you each have, tapping into ancient sources of energy.
You mean like the way you did that light thunder, Otto? I realized you were attempting to manifest, if I'm not mistaken, the
Precisely. Science has come a fantastic way since the days that I had been born, when I seem to remember magic as being as common as anyone. As anything, as common as breathing in many instances, and certain cities were created with this entire notion of magic ruling daily life. People had inherent power, the things that they had to memorize, the prayers to be said, and then they would simply be able to do these things. This never went away. People simply forgot how to do it. Case in point, myself. I can do this, but not many people can, and I am atrocious at teaching. I'm horrible, and basic concepts elude me when I'm trying to convey them to others. That's not my forte. But you four seem to have been able to find it, and you are not the only ones. It seems you need to die to understand it, and each of the four of you can and have. The thunder that you summoned to Mrs. Moore did not come from your planchette, but from the belief that it came from your planchette. It came from within you. The planchette is a mere manifestation of yourself, that which you have placed so much faith within. The cube, Mr. Renault, I dare say that power source is a extremely powerful power source and fuels so much more than anything else. It has the ability to amplify anything it is near. You have a devastating ability to manipulate that as well. I am uncertain of what position you would hold in the ancient societies of eons ago, but nonetheless. And you, Mr. Jephcots, you have a unique ability. I saw you that day. I can see you move through the streets in ways that most people cannot, and your powers of perception are incredible. Certainly, I would say that you'll be better suited for a life of crime than that of the long arm of the law. You're very good at what you do. But you, Mr. al-Zafar, I'm hesitant to say, but I believe that you have the very thing that killed you inside of you. I think that is what powers you.
Wait, so I have what killed me inside of me?
I believe you have the very thing inside of you that did that. It now uses you. And you can control it, of course. I believe. You have something there that is deep within, that provides you with a source of energy that most people these days simply have no knowledge of.
Do you think it's like a virus?
I wish it was that easy. No, I do not believe it is a virus. What I believe is that all of you, and this includes Mr. Grungnir, all of you have the ability to do something that most people can as well, but many of them are long past the days of learning. Mr. Jephcots, I believe that you have a unique ability that far surpasses anything anyone in this city can do, and yet you use your powers for good. This is fantastic, but you have a long way to go, my friend. So far beyond what anyone else here can do. And you, Ms. Moore, you have a unique ability to see things in lands beyond with your planchette. That is because you most likely have already been there. All of the things which we of the Intelligarium have marked, which, by the way, Mr. al-Zafar, there are certain members of your society who you will be meeting shortly within these chambers to assist you.
Truly?
Oh, yes. Your society has 2 members of the Intelligarium within it. They, like you, have died at some point. Mrs. Moore, back to you if I may. You have this unique ability to support everyone else around you. You have been dabbling in spirits which have been invisible to you for all your life. And yet you've not even understood that they have been whispering lessons to you, lessons of their own life. You can communicate their stories in a way that so many others never would. Through your chicanery, you would be able to provide support to your fellow compatriots here, your comrades, as it were. And you, Mr. Renault, can make machines talk and do things by harnessing the very power that so many others have completely forgotten about.
It's basically coding, but yes.
Well, I suppose. But what we are asking is, we have an experiment that is meant for people like you. You are the healthiest of them all. Would you be willing to undergo an experiment?
Yes.
Otto stands up with his cane and hat in hand, looking at the three-seated individuals, except for Renault, who just went, "Yep."
Yeah, if that's what it takes to keep people safe, yeah.
Yeah, Shahid stands and nods his head. Yeah.
Mrs. Moore?
I am reluctantly standing up.
I understand the trepidation that each of you must have, and yet I must also say thank you for bypassing that trepidation. This is why you are going to be heroes of Fallendrift. Because you are exactly that, heroes. Come with me now.
Doctor? He opens up the door. You guys walk down a hallway. You come back through the area where all of the sick are inside of the hospital. You go back through the room of souls. And then you come into that steam-powered room and what have you. You now continue your journey by turning right. Before you turned right, now you're coming back up to that place. You're turning right now, going back straight, further into the Intelligarium. Down some hallways and what have you, you enter into a chamber that looks more like a lab. Renault, may I have any role that you want that would help you identify scientific parts? Anything at all?
21 intelligence.
Oh, straight up intelligence? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah. You take a look and you see a wide variety of beds in an upright position. It kind of looks like a patient lab of some kind, like an experimentation is going to take place. And you see massive brass helmets with all sorts of wires coming into them and like gurneys where, hold on to hands and everything else. And you see a large globe in the middle. That large globe seems to resemble the same kind of material that Grungnir had discussed in the past. Shahid, you see this kind of crystal that Grungnir had described. The intention here is for you to fully realize who it is that you are. It's going to awaken all of the memories that you should have that had been stolen from you all this time. Of lessons learned and since forgotten. Of abilities gained and yet never practiced. Of friends and of family. And so much more, potentially. We are uncertain whether or not you will live through it, but apparently you'll have some difficulty dying as it is. I apologize, but I would not do something with anyone if I had ever thought that it would ever truly prematurely end their life. I can give you my word as a gentleman on this.
You haven't steered us wrong thus far. And after all, we are here. And I need to have answers.
Then if you don't mind, Doctor, may I?
Yes, by all means.
Come with me. It leads you over to one of the gurneys, which is like out of 45.
Yeah, absolutely. I follow along.
Okay. As you were, right here. There's no need for us to strap you in. You do this voluntarily. But you can place your feet on the end here. There you will find that. But yes, exactly. That wooden board will prevent you from falling out. Anyone else there? The helmet, by the way, will be lowered upon your head. You can take it and place it upon you as well. Yes, Mr. Renault?
Oh, yeah, I was just getting ready. I had to make sure my hat wasn't on.
Ah, very good. Ophelia and Casper, these two are now laying on gurneys with wires sticking out of a helmet that they are both wearing.
We're
Casper,
already dead.
okay.
So, what have we got to lose?
I mean, we've already died, so...
Your hair
Lots of
looks very
music.
nice, so it might be bad for you.
Okay, I'm going to do... If I do die, it won't be the worst thing, I suppose.
We will be sure that your death is not permanent.
Of course.
He says that as he's like twisting some dials and some gears.
How comforting.
I apologize. I mean that quite sincerely. And he
It's
says,
all right.
like he looks right at Ms. Warden. No, I do mean that, and then goes back pulling levers and shit.
Oh, okay, yes, thank you.
The doctor, meanwhile, is starting to take notes and shit, like looking, like very engaged in this. Do you fear anything, any of you? You have fear right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Keep in mind, this is for posterity, so please be honest.
I hate you. I hate you.
I feel a bit silly. With
Why would you bring
the
Princess
hat.
Bride into this?
Why would you feel silly?
I can see what it looks like on Renault, and I'm imagining myself with it, and
Well,
it's not the...
science is blind to one's vanity, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess.
Do you mind, Mr. Jephcots?
What?
Oh, wow, we just got a cheer for 45. We're only going to temporarily kill you. Each of you in your own way go up against them, I suppose?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
There is... Oh, man, hold on. Let me see if we can get this going. Awesome. There is... a gear is, or excuse me, a lever is pushed into the ground. Things begin moving. Things start, giant, begins happening, and immediately everyone make a Constitution save. Gotta
You
find out
gotta
where you
roll
are.
it for me.
Oh yeah, not a problem. I can do that for you.
I hate that you have to roll a con save for me.
I have to make a con save for you. Well, I got a 9 for you.
I love you.
You know what? At this point, I'm going to use what I have left. I'm going to add.
What did you roll?
Oh, I had a 10.
Okay. Keep in mind, no one can actually see your rolls, so be sure to say what
Oh,
you
I'm
got.
sorry. Yeah. So I rolled a 10, so I'm going to use my +2 and a +1 for a 13.
Okay.
Better than a.
I rolled.
We have a.
14.
Do we have another urchin?
You have 1.
You guys care if I use that?
No, go for it. I'm gonna blow my load.
Okay, hold up. Go ahead and re-roll that. Ophelia,
Okay.
you got a 9, so you're going to blow your load on that. That's going to be a... Okay, so you get a total of 15. 12 is what you just rolled for a total of 14.
Yes.
Okay. And Casper, what'd you get, buddy?
I got a 14. I had a +1 left. I'm going to use that.
I will do the same.
For a total of 15. Okay, and
Yes.
Renault's going to add in for a total of 15. So, and you
Yes.
have a 2 and a 3, so you're going to leave it at the 15?
Let's blow the load. Let's make it a 20.
Okay, cool. All right, so you bring that up to a 20. Alrighty,
I've
cool.
electrocuted myself before. This is nothing new.
All right. Well, with that, there is a grinding of gears and more
The doctor is also assisting, and you see he's actually quite nimble with his fingers. Ophelia, your head lolls over to the side. You can see he's actually writing rapidly as things are occurring. Zick, 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 zick. There is a sickening sound inside of your head that sounds a tremendous, like a fantastic amount of laughter, including some which you've heard recently, stuff that was in the asylum. You hear like all sorts of people. You hear all the memories that you had forgotten. Both Casper and Ophelia, all of those memories start becoming unlocked. The screams of the horrors of everything that you guys have encountered. Plus, you also, Shahid, you begin hearing like the desert winds. Some of you begin remembering what it felt like to laugh as a child. And at the end of all of this, while steam is now beginning to rise up off of your skin, visions of everything, all of you end up blacking out. When you come to, you find yourselves still in the gurney where you are, but their helmets have been removed. The doctor is there, and so is Otto, looking at you. In the large doctor's hand, in the doctor's large hand on Ms. Moore, he's gingerly taking a pulse.
Well, I can only assume it's been a success.
Otto is looking at you. All. Well, eyeballs are fluttering open. That's not so horrible. If we may ask, how do you all feel? Take your time.
A bit woozy, but fine, I guess.
Well, if you don't mind.
No, not at all.
Mr. Renault?
Yes.
Any difference? Notice anything?
I can feel my teeth, but other than that, that is it.
To be expected. Curious. Mr. Jephcots, anything here?
Well, I do remember getting fired now, and so that's something new.
Ah, right. All right. Well, it doesn't seem like you've experienced any sort of bodily harm, so this is good. All of a sudden, there's a pipe that goes. It begins to swing down. Jephcots, you happen to be the nearest towards this. Can you please roll a dex save?
Yeah.
It's swinging right down towards Otto's head. Another piece is also starting to dislodge itself. Apparently, there's a buildup of pressure and so much more that's starting to come down on this. What did you get there, bud?
14.
No, you didn't. You got more like a 19. All of you guys begin to react. Something else begins to happen inside of you. Some of you simply reach up and grab onto a falling part. Others are tumbling out of the way. One of you just ends up going and like unleashes something. You're unsure what it is, but you guys are now 5th level.
What?
That's ridiculous. I love it.
What?
And we just got raided.
We were. Hold on. Can we just tell the raiders that we were level 1 2 seconds ago?
This campaign needs 5th level characters, so yep, you guys just did it.
We just got avenged.
I've been unlocked.
Oh my god.